Yellow. What's up, Tantans? Tantan says he's been waiting. I know, guys. I know. I've been sleeping, guys. I escaped it, Sal Scamaro. I escaped it. Like a champ. Happy Friday, y'all. Been having health issues again. I'll put you through. Oh, yeah. Dude, yeah. Please keep me updated, bub. You lost to Andrew. The fuck is Andrew? What's up, Haley? What's up, Jeremy? You kick, you lose. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know about that one. Enjoy the rain. Dude, I have the worst headache from sleeping way too much. Chat, hook me up with some likes. I have the worst headache from sleeping too much. I do this thing where I'll sleep for 12 hours and then I'll go back to sleep for another 6 hours. And then like on any other normal day, I can't sleep at normal hours to save my own life. I can't like go to sleep at midnight. Just doesn't happen. I know, Tantans, I know. Did I hear that everyone agreed that Z was right and the panel was just causing problems? I don't want to comment on any of that. I'm a privileged white man. I don't get to decide what is and what isn't racist to people that are affected by it. But what I will say is that that person that ran the campaign, if you do 30 seconds of Googling, you can see that they're not good people. And we shouldn't be dealing with that person in the first place. Take melatonin? I do take melatonin. I do. I take actually an unhealthy amount of melatonin. I do take magnesium. Look at it. Guys, I take 5-HTP, I take ashwagandha, I take magnesium, I take a daily vitamin, I take fish oil, I take L-theanine, I take lion's mane, try chamomile. Valerian root? I've tried valerian root. We might try it again. It has to be magnesium glycinate. Oh my god, fuck my life. This is just straight up 500 milligram magnesium. And we're almost all the way through the bottle. This is my first bottle of it. Maybe I need to get whatever, Sinate. Perhaps less coffee? That might do it. You're so young, you don't know jack shit, dude. Try ditching it all? No way. No way. You don't know nothing. Not the right magnesium? I wouldn't know if anything that I take is helpful. Chat, let's get to like 10K likes. And Ty, I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood for your weird shenanigans. Stock market mooning, Trump's the greatest president. So if the stock market's doing well and Trump just said that it was Biden's stock market, does that mean it's Biden's fault? I saw that, Becca. I saw that. I synced it. Ty, go on get. Go on get. What's cracking, chat? What's cracking? How was everybody's week? Guys, I'm gonna be going to get some sushi tonight. I want every one of you to know. You've never had sushi, Tanner. What the fuck? Can you say what part? I'm in Dallas. Yeah, I agree. All Trump had to do was go golf and keep his fucking dirty dick beaters off of the economy. Would have been great. Instead, we're being held hostage by these tariffs, this weird fucking tariff situation. It doesn't make sense to anybody either. Texas sushi sounds a bit sus. No, I do. We have good sushi. We have good sushi. Chris, don't you fucking say that shit. I will never eat a California roll, and I have had poke. I eat straight up hand rolls. I eat sashimi. I'll eat a whole bowl of sashimi. In fact, let me fucking show you what I ordered last time while we're still waiting on a guest. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, that's not. It's not on that phone. It's my other phone. I do like avocados. Barbecue sushi is like an oxymoron, kind of. All right, guys. Look at that shit. Look at that. They call that in Japanese something like a box of jewels. You see that sashimi? And you see those hand rolls back there? That's just tuna hand rolls. That's how I go with sushi, dude. That's how I do sushi. Although I can't order that again tonight. It's too expensive. Too expensive. Why won't you eat a California roll? I don't because it's pretend sushi. Best sushi in DFW? Okay. Um this place is called, hold on. I always forget the name, but it's like so close to me. It's brand new. That's why, guys. So don't give me that shit. Wow. This place doesn't even show up on the Google listing. Otaru. Otaru. Best sushi you'll ever have in Dallas. The best sushi you'll have, period. That's like a $40 plate minimum. It was. I think it was about. It was about that. Maybe more. I'm in Richardson right now looking for something to order from Uber Eats. Yeah. I do octopus. I'll eat octopus tentacles. I'll fuck that. I'll fuck with that shit all day, dude. Chat. Do we have any Trump supporters that want to debate? I'll be in Dallas in 2 weeks. Absolutely. If you have it's so Otaru is kind of pricey. It can be anywhere from like 50 to 75 bucks a plate to like be full. You can get away with ordering like maybe 40 bucks worth of food, maybe 30. But when I go, about 50, 60, 70 bucks. Waiting on you to go up and move out of your parents' house. Never. Am I down to debate a Republican running for Congress? Always. Always. Yellow.
How's it going, Pickles? Thanks for having me up. How's your day going?
It's doing okay, man. Are you running for Congress?
Yeah, I am. Texas, District 7.
All right. All
I know
right.
you're down in Texas, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in Dallas.
Oh, nice. Houston.
Okay, so what do you like about Trump?
Well, I think I've got to back it up just a smidgen. I believe in the Republican Party over the Democrat Party because the values align with me better, and Trump's a Republican, so that's why I stuck with him.
Okay. What do you like? I honestly don't think you can just now outright say that anymore. I think Trump is not a typical Republican. I think he breaks the mold a little bit, and I also think he's so bad that even if you are Republican, you should probably back away from it.
Well, I think that's not fair to say if somebody's in a party or not if they identify with a party because, Trump, he is a Republican. He stands for God, family, and country, generally in that order. And that's
That
what
that
a lot
doesn't
of
mean
Republicans
anything to
believe
me.
in.
That doesn't really mean anything to me. That's just that's all you guys have pigeonholed yourself into putting on your bumper stickers, but that literally doesn't mean anything. So like if we're supposed to keep a separation from government and state, if we don't want to lean more towards fascism, we probably stay away from intertwining religion and governments. And if you're all about family, I would ask you what in the world does that mean? Because you guys don't really fund anything in terms of like helping families. You guys are just for, I don't know, cutting taxes for rich people. And I don't know, it just sounds like a bumper sticker and meaningless BS.
Well, I got to explain something to really make a point. And so we'll drive into your 2 points. Your first point is that God doesn't mean anything. It should be separated from the state, and that Republicans don't do anything for the average working American. And so I would say that both those claims you made are false, because if you look at God and how it interacts with government, there's a separation between church and state, but there needs to be something above government, or government would be all powerful and we'd literally be bowing to elected officials as the highest thing in the hierarchy of existence itself, and this reality. And so with me, I believe in God above government, and I believe in family above government, and that's the intertwining of me and God. But I don't bring God into politics, and I'm not going to be making legislation that's about God. It's just me personally. I believe in God, and I think God's more important than government.
Okay, so I think that then you can just ex-nay the whole thing, right? If you're not going to make legislation about God, all I hear is that you're virtue signaling that maybe you're like morally or ethically better than everyone else because you're Christian.
No, I never said that. You're trying to put words in my mouth.
I,
That's not
I
a
I'm
good faith argument,
now I'm
sir.
asking you like to clarify then. So like, what does it mean when you invoke God in this whole conversation if you're not going to be legislating with it?
Because you can't legislate God, it's not allowed. So I'm going to follow the Constitution, number one. Number two, I personally believe in God and let values guide my life that align with that. And that's why it's important.
That's what I'm saying. So you just said you're going to let God guide your values in your life. Just like I said, it sounds like you're kind of like invoking him to like say that you're on maybe a
Help
moral
me?
high ground.
No, I'm invoking him to like help me and help guide me. That's the only way I invoke him.
Okay, so that still means nothing to me. There's plenty of people that I know that are very Christian that are still very horrible people. It really just comes down to the person, in my opinion, and I think that you should keep God and all that stuff away from our kids.
Yeah, sure. That's an opinion. And I didn't go to church growing up through my family. My dad never talked to me about God. I found God on my own, and that's my personal opinion. So if you don't want to talk about God anymore, we can move on to the taxes part.
So all in all, that literally means nothing. You ask God to help you, and that's it.
No, I mean, I believe in the creator of the universe. I believe atheists
What
don't
does that
see the
have to do with
connect.
your elected position?
Hold on, I'm answering a question. You cut me off and then asked another question. What do you want, the first or the second question?
I'm clarifying so you don't keep running around with this BS about God and how it relates to being in Congress.
Well, you're asking me about God and I'm giving you answers. And so my answer is that I don't think that nothing created the universe. I think a God did. And it's very logical to follow a belief system that aligns with God.
It's incoherent if you ask me.
Well, that's fine. You can believe that, but I think it's dumber to believe that nothing created nothing. I think a God
You
created everything.
you think the same thing because you think nothing created a God.
No, God's infinite. It's always been around. It's far out of
All
the
right, that's just as
extension
far
of
out
what a
then.
human can grab. Yeah, I don't think humans can wrap their head around infinity. No.
Okay, still, I don't think you should be invoking that in any way, shape, or form unless you're just trying to grab votes from Christian. I don't think you're going to be using that to legislate, are you?
I'm not going to be using God to legislate whatsoever, but I
Then why
let
do you bring
God
it up?
guide my life because God is an important part of my life.
Okay. I mean, it's just as relevant as being a fan of Pokemon, if you ask me.
That's fine. You can have that opinion.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about taxes, or because that was your second point?
My second point is that Republicans don't do anything for families besides maybe cut some taxes, but not in a way that helps lower class or middle class.
Okay, I'd love to hear your critique about the $75 billion that was put into over 1,800 opportunity zones in the US by Trump's Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in his first term. What do you think about those opportunity zones? Do you think that they are building the economy or tearing it down?
I think it's a moot point when you talk about the tax cuts when you look at it for the classes. If you break it down by class, he mostly is raising taxes on lower and middle income families. And no matter how you try to shape it, that's the case.
So, do you know what an opportunity zone is? You might just be ignorant on the tax bill.
I'm somewhat familiar. It's a Tim Scott thing, right?
No, it's an actual Donald J. Trump thing. He put opportunity zones in the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that put $75 billion into low income zones because the Republican ideology is that if you create jobs and economic growth, then you lower poverty and crime. That's what Republicans believe.
Yeah, I know, but you guys don't really create jobs. Like if 75 billion is your claim to fame, I've got some news for you. We've got Biden with like $2 trillion worth of that stuff.
No, he never created opportunity zones and specifically tried to impact communities with people of color. Biden never did that. Only Trump did.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys can figure out your identity thing yet, but you guys are both anti-DEI and for helping out communities that specifically target a certain race.
So DEI is not about helping people. That's actually of other races. That's affirmative action. Do you know the difference between DEI and
Yes,
affirmative
I
action
know.
or no?
Affirmative action was done
Okay.
away with during Biden.
So you had a bad faith argument right there. I really just asked you if you could argue me in good faith because you're convoluting two different subjects and topics. So
Yeah,
the
I
first
know.
point,
Are you guys for creating opportunities that target a specific race, or are you guys against being all inclusive?
okay, so this is a two-part answer to a two-part question. The first part of that answer is that we're all about helping people that are underadvantaged, and we do that by creating jobs, lowering taxes, and creating opportunity. That's what your
With
government should be
75 whole
doing.
billion dollars?
Oh, but you didn't even know what opportunity zones were 2 minutes ago. How can you even comment on them? Name
I
one city that
literally
an opportunity zone is in.
I
Name
don't
one
know. I don't
city.
know. You name one.
New York,
Sweet.
New York City.
Sweet. 75 billion is a very small number.
Okay, but it is a number. Do you
Okay.
have 75 billion?
We $75 billion is nothing in comparison to all of the things that Trump is cutting. Trump has denied outright like FEMA aid to 3 different states at this point that have had weather disasters, and that's nowhere to be found. Like he's leaving people out to dry. He's sucked billions of dollars, $286 billion out of the school system by dissolving the DOE. So your $75 is literally nothing. It's just a virtue signal.
It's not a virtue signal. That's disgusting that you would say that. That's the third time you've acted in bad faith in this conversation. You're not a good faith debater. I'm letting
I'm
you
the
know that
best
right
face
now.
debater on TikTok, actually. I
No,
don't,
you're
you're
not.
gonna have to substantiate that.
Okay. You're actually, you want me to substantiate it?
Yeah.
You aligned with a racist called D in the Unfuck America tour, and you knew that she was racist, and you still took money from her and went on an event with a racist
I didn't
and
take any money
represented a
from her.
racist. Oh,
I
so
and
oh, so
also
you
you're gonna
oh,
invoke
so what's your
you're
so
gonna
what you're
invoke
saying?
Z's you're gonna invoke Z's
Yeah,
microaggressions
she's
to be
racist.
racist. Yet Donald
She's
Trump's
racist.
okay. Yet Donald Trump is your guy.
Okay, so you're trying to sidestep this point. You literally went to an event with a racist and represented with the
I've
racist
denounced her.
when you knew about it. You
I've
did not
denounced her.
denounce her
You still know about
after the
Trump,
fact that
and
you got caught.
you're still for
You
Trump.
got caught, sir. You got caught, sir, being racist.
You're not gonna pull this one on me. You're not gonna pull this one on me.
It's
You're
not.
for
It's
Trump.
fact.
You're for Trump,
Listen,
right?
truth is like a lion. You set it free, it defends itself. And the truth is that you supported a racist, went on an event with a racist, and didn't
Okay.
apologize until you were caught.
Here's
And you
Z.
know that.
Here's Z on that scale. Here's Trump. Here's you voting for Hitler and looking at his opponent and saying you kicked a baby.
Okay, so it's okay to support someone who's just a little bit racist. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I didn't support anything. I was barely dragged along on this tour, and if you're gonna keep invoking this tour thing and bring up the smallest, most overblown incident on the internet to help your argument, I'm gonna move on to the next one.
So you're saying black people's feelings aren't significant enough for you to pay
We
attention
literally
to them?
have multiple people on both sides of this now saying that either Z was or wasn't racist. I have no opinion on it. I have denounced working with Z for other reasons, and I literally went to go talk to people and help the school age children, the college age kids, see through some of the fascist rhetoric Charlie Kirk is throwing at them. That
And what
was my
happened?
mission.
You did a freak shot sideshow in the back with like 12 people. You didn't accomplish your mission and you supported a racist.
That's besides
you
the point,
got
right?
caught after the fact. You got caught supporting a racist, and now you're trying to backpedal
Listen,
and apologize and
you're-
disconnect to save your platform.
You're losing.
You're disgusting.
You're
disgusting,
losing.
Pickles.
You're losing. You're
you
losing an
support
argument.
a racist.
You're invoking.
You support
Z.
a racist.
You're invoking. Okay. You're invoking
I'm
Z.
invoking the truth.
You're invoking this Z thing to sidestep the fact that Trump is like by far way more racist than Z, and you support Trump, right?
Okay, but you said more racist, so you're implying
Way
that Z is a
more.
little bit racist, right? So
Like,
you're implying that Z is racist.
If Z said something like this candidate isn't black, or that a certain type of person is poisoning the blood of our country, or that they have bad genes, and you still align with them, that's far worse than me aligning with somebody who says, hey, y'all are being rude, you're being angry.
So you're invalidating the feelings of black people who had this experience, and
I'm
this
not
experience was
invalidating.
real. Yeah, you are. You're saying that it wasn't a big deal. The underpinnings of this argument is that what they said wasn't a big deal. Their feelings don't matter, and black
I'm not
people
saying
don't
it's
have
not
a
a big deal.
voice. You're saying that black people don't have a voice, Pickles.
I'm
And
not
you're
saying
saying
that.
that, and you accepted money for it.
I didn't take
You
any
can
money.
kick me anytime. You can kick me
I
anytime
didn't
if
take
you
any
want.
money. I paid my own way.
Okay, but you still supported the racist by going
No,
to
I
her
didn't.
event
I didn't
knowing she
support
was
her.
racist.
I supported my own movement. I supported my own thing there. I went there. I
Then
was
why were
happy
you
to be
wearing?
along. I was happy to be there. I was happy to be a part of. And guess what? I got to stream. I got like 7,200 live viewers watching my stream. So whether you say it's like 12 people or not, it was successful for me.
Okay, it was successful for you to step on black people who have feelings and now
You're
try to
reaching real hard.
invalidate those feelings. I'm
You're
not
reaching real hard.
I'm speaking the truth. And you know
Dude,
it's the truth,
I
Pickles.
literally have you guys on my show every day saying the N-word to try to get me canceled. And you're
Did I
saying
say that?
I should denounce anybody who does a microaggression towards somebody, and so
You
much so
should.
that I'm so guilty by association that I should be canceled. Give me a break.
Because in a group chat, they talked about her racist actions 3 days before the event. You still went on the event. All 30 creators should be canceled, and this is why.
Oh
Because
my
you
goodness.
went on an event with a racist. You tried to hide it after the fact, and now you're even putting down the black people who felt that experience. You
am
know
not,
you're wrong.
No,
You're wrong,
I actually
Pickles.
have no opinion on it. And you know what? I didn't see or hear any of the evidence before I went on the tour. None of it.
Then why are you saying if you don't have an opinion, why are you disconnecting from Z? What's your reasoning behind that?
She's a bad campaign leader. She's a bad person.
Oh, okay. It's not because of the scandal about her being racist. It has nothing to do with that.
No.
Do you think that what she did was racist to those people? Because
I didn't see it. I still haven't seen it.
Okay, so you haven't seen it. That's your argument. But earlier you were saying it wasn't a big deal. So was it a big deal to hurt the feelings of an entire race, or was it not?
If that's true, then yes. But I'm not the one who can determine that's true or not.
But a lot of black people are speaking out saying it's true.
There's a lot of black people that are saying it's not true.
Oh, okay. So you're going to go with the side that helps your argument and keeps you being a creator, even though that you stepped on black people, you're not realizing their feelings, and you're trying to oppress their voices with your laugh. That's what you're doing, Pickles.
No, I literally, this is literally the smallest issue I can think of that's happened in the last 2 weeks. We have Trump doing things that are far more important than C calling a group of people rude or angry.
I think it's really important because if you look at a Pew Research study, 33% of America engages with TikTok. And this study specifically wanted to know how many people engage with politics. Half of that 33 million. That's tens of millions of people engage on here. And you're supposed to be a leader for these people, Pickles. You sided with a racist, and
you're perpetually siding with a racist.
All the people in your chat that still support you are just as bad as you. And I think you're a bad actor. That's what I truly believe, Pickles.
All right. Well, do you want to say one more thing before I boot you for the $40 I just got?
Yeah, check me out at ChrisJStevensforCongress.com.
All right, guys. Remember, he's way less racist than the people that hang out with Z, even though he supports Trump. Chat, tap the screen. If you're a Trump supporter, hop in the box. If you are not, hop out of the box. If you're friendly, please hop out of the box. And W Jody's in the chat. Jodee. W Jody. Guys, don't ever let a Trump supporter come up and call you a racist if they're voting for Trump. I'm sorry, but Trump has done 12,000 times worse. I'm sorry, but if you're enabling that, you have no room to criticize our side, period.
I just want to say, bro, if you're enabling Joe Biden, you have no right to criticize Trump.
How's that?
Well, he's a racist. He was accused of SA, and now you're coming at Trump. I see.
Do you want to talk about those things?
Sure.
What makes him
That's
racist?
how Biden won. You ain't black.
Do you know what
Remember
that's
when
from?
he said that? What it's from?
Yeah.
From Biden's mouth.
Do you know what context there was around that?
Yeah, he said you ain't black if you vote for Trump.
What show he's on? Do you know?
You just giving a he's like at a rally.
No.
No, you're wrong.
He was on this thing with
Charlotte.
Charlemagne the God. It's called the Breakfast Club. And the saying on that show is, if you don't do X, Y, or Z, you ain't black. And he said that.
All right.
So,
Well,
and then he came back and denounced it.
I got another one then. Hold up. I got another.
Okay.
All right. Biden said, poor kids are just as bright as white kids. What is up with that?
I think that was poor choice of words. I don't think he actually meant that the way it sounds.
Right? You don't think he meant to put white kids on a pedestal?
No.
All right. So when Trump says something that's racist, but when Biden says it, he misspoke. Is that right?
Yeah, I think Biden has actually come back and actually said, hey, what I said was wrong. This is not what I meant. I meant this. Trump will never do that. He's always doubled down, tripled down. Kamala's
Like
not
an
black,
example?
all
An
that kind of
example?
stuff. Yeah, like saying Kamala's not black, or he would never let black people count his money, or, you know, not allowing people that are black or people of color to rent from him in the 1970s, which invoked a 1973 court case from the federal government for discrimination. He also took out a full-page ad targeting the Central Park Five and calling for their death penalty. And even after they were exonerated, he still doubled down. And even as soon as recent as like
where's the race
2023.
involved in that? Where is he saying like, oh, because they're black or what?
Yeah.
With the Central Park Five, well, where's your
No,
proof
I'm
of
talking.
that?
No, the people that he didn't rent to in 1973. What about that?
Yeah, I
What
read
about
the documents and stuff. There's no admitted guilt in that, so
yeah?
so
Because
no
they settled
evidence
outside of
either, so-
court.
And then also you bring up the Central Park Five, but he never said anything about their race. So I don't
Yeah,
understand.
it's just kind of strange that he still thinks that we should bring back the death penalty, and he also said these things about people of color when they're even after they were exonerated.
All right, let's just move on from this. How does Trump suck though? Like, is it like economically? Like, what's going on that
Yeah,
makes
his
him
economic
suck?
policy is obviously horrible, and everybody has a different opinion on how it even works. The tariffs,
Yeah.
none of them make sense long term. The only thing I see coming from it is every country might possibly come and kiss the ring and give something to Trump that is not going to help the country as a whole.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it's too smart of like to keep them like that whole blanket tariff and stuff. I think it's more of like a bluff, hopefully.
So you agree he's using us as pawns? We're going to have bare shelves in a few weeks
How is he using us as pawns though, if it's a bluff?
because we're going to be paying 154% taxes on Chinese goods, and he's
So
going
where
to
did
make
corporate
businesses
greed
go out of.
go? Remember Democrats were talking about corporate greed and like now it's blaming the president? I thought it was corporate greed.
No, Trump has invoked these tariffs, not corporations.
Right, but they're gonna be because they'll take in, the impact, right? Not the consumer, but they'll put it on the consumer because they're greedy.
They literally just have no choice. So if you do a tax that's over 100%, you would literally have to have over 100% profit margin on some of these items, and that's not the case for a lot of small businesses, a lot of medium businesses. They're going to be hurt the most. And
Well, it's just a
we
bluff.
even have Walmart, Target, all these other huge retail stores that say they are going to go out of business, or they're going to have bare shelves in as soon as they think 2 weeks.
Well, didn't Trump take back some of them tariffs?
They still said this as recently as like 5 days ago.
Well, look at that. Inflation is dropping.
That's still it's going to lag. So give it about 2 weeks, and inflation is going to skyrocket.
Skyrocket. All right.
Yeah.
Like Biden's.
So you'd have to name a thing that Biden did that made inflation go up.
Of course, Biden's American Rescue Plan fueled inflation.
You would have to give me more than $1,200 once. That would cause 3 straight years of inflation up to 9%.
Well, I have to give you more than facts. How about you just look it up?
I have.
I mean,
and
the Fed
and
talks about it.
you have one guy named Larry Summers that says this is the case, and then you have a bunch of other people saying that this is the way that we stop recession. So the reason, for instance, we got off of the gold standards is we couldn't curb recessions the way that we did during the American Rescue Plan. So we were able to print money and inject money into the market, especially in parts of the market that needed it, such as the lower and middle class, so that we could inject money into businesses and have trickle up economics do its thing.
Yeah, Trump cut your taxes, bro. You're welcome.
Trump did not cut my taxes.
Well, what bracket are you in? How did he not cut it if he cut
I make
every
beneath
bracket?
$360,000, so he did not effectively cut my taxes. No.
Well, what are you saying exactly? You're saying 360,000 and above got a tax cut and everyone else didn't?
Correct.
Well, the lower class used to pay 15%. Now they pay 12%. That's a cut. So
Yeah,
that's
but
the
now they don't
lowest
have salt
class.
they don't now they don't have salt deductions and a lot of other loopholes that he cuts, so they effectively pay more.
Not true. Their child tax credits doubled.
Yeah, from 1 to 2,000.
Exactly, doubled.
Still, I don't have kids, so no.
Well, he still cut taxes and he's extending that same tax cut. So
Yeah, and we have the aggregate data on it. ITEP, Institute of Taxation and Economic Policy, says that on
yeah,
average we paying about $1,300 more a year. And now with Trump's like insane tariffs, it's going to be way more. It's just going to be called tariffs, not income tax.
I seen something different. Like the median household income went up $5,000 because of that.
No, we're going to be paying $5,000.
No, you're incorrect. Tax Cuts and Jobs Act increased median in-house income $5,500.
All right, I'll just pull it up for you.
All right, dude. Why are all these comments tweaking out? Like, you guys are Democrats, I'm Republican. Like, we're always gonna disagree, you know. So, like, I don't care if you guys are saying I'm lies, whatever. Like, I mean, you just look it up. Biden's American Rescue Plan did fuel inflation, you know. So,
It didn't. It's just debatable.
look at you just look it up your own thing. You went to Google Images. Here's this. Here's this little chart, and I wasn't even talking about that.
Yeah, this is a chart of how the taxes are playing out, bro. You see all those yellow lines?
Dude, you see how we just went to Google Images?
Yeah, I know. It's Institute Taxation and Economic Policy. This is where this image comes from. It's a nice, easy chart so that you guys can read. All right. You see the left 4 or 5 yellow lines. See how they go up? That's our tax liability going up. You see the left 2? They go down. That's Trump's rich friends getting a tax cut. And in fact, it's even worse now that we are seeing tariffs to the tune of 154% rather than just 25, which was what this was projected on. Where'd he go? Did he run?
Oh, yo, Pickles.
What's up? Hey,
Can you hear me?
chat. Yeah, chat. Don't forget to give me a follow. Also, let's tap the screen. Look at the 50K. And I also have a Cash App and Venmo in the bio. If you guys are trying to kick somebody, if somebody like especially sucks, it's not cheap to kick somebody, and that's on purpose because I don't like kicking everybody. What's up?
Yo, what's up? What's the debate today? Are we still debating Trump?
Yeah.
Well, what's your problem with Trump again?
Trump's horrible for the economy. He's really bad for geopolitics. He's a horrible diplomat. He's problematic. We're in a constitutional crisis. He's talking about running for a third term. Which one do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, okay. What do you think about the UK?
I don't know.
It's related. Trust me. It's just related. I just want to get your opinion on like other countries besides America, and like what you think. How? Okay. How
in
about
what
this?
regard?
Based off like old wars and like grudges, like being held. Like it's weird because like I see you guys talking about like the price of oil and all these things, and Trump's bad for America. But yo, you gotta these people, dude. These wars from 1776, when we turned guns on their king, they're still pissed off. Like, why does it seem like we are owned by Israel? Why is Trump being backed by the royal family?
Why is he being backed by the royal family?
Yes. How do you think he got his money? Who do you think brought him to New York?
He inherited about $420 million from his dad, and then just about every bank in the U.S. stopped giving him loans, so he went to Deutsche Bank and Russia, and I mean, there's all sorts of conspiracies about why Russia gave him money and why he's doing the things he's doing today.
Hmm. What do you? Okay, do you know about much about like his dad and where his dad came from?
From Scotland.
He came from Scotland.
Scotland or Germany? I don't forget. I don't remember.
I thought it was. I thought he was from. I thought he was British. I thought he was like English or something. Is that wrong?
I don't know. I
Or
guess
he
I
he
was.
at least lived there for before coming to the States. I believe. Yeah, maybe he was like from Scotland, but from what I read, he was in the UK for like a long time working, like in politics and stuff.
He was born in New York, but his parents are German.
Trump's dad was born in New York.
That's what it says.
Weird. That's not what I read at all. Huh. Interesting. Um, yeah, I think there's just more stuff at play than just like President Trump and what he's doing. I think he's like fighting something. He's fighting. I think he's fighting like a warm takeover. That's what it feels like from other countries. I want to say every country. I'm gonna go as far to say every country has been wanting a piece of America for a long time.
I feel like this is like a cope of epic proportions, man. Like
I don't
we
even know
were
what that means.
like I'm saying that you're kind of hinting towards maybe kind of a conspiracy, and I'm just looking at things at their
No, I'm talking
like
about
on its
history.
face. Like Trump
I'm
is
not, I'm not talking
here.
about like made up stuff, like
Really,
not theories. I'm just talking about history.
I know, but you said I feel like Trump is doing something, and or that the UK and all these other countries are slowly
Yeah,
doing
like he's
something that are
fighting.
anti-American.
Yeah.
You're also in the wind. It's real bad.
Oh, yeah, I know. Sorry. I'm not doing my neighborhood walk. Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't think it really has anything to do with Trump. I think it's all a show. It's all the world is a stage. Like this is what they want us to be fighting about. Like racism, sexuality, like all this stuff. And it's all printed. This stuff people have been talking about this for a long time.
I think it's
I
very
mentioned Aleister
obvious.
Crowley.
I think it's very obvious what they want us to fight about sometimes. Like Trump just straight up just says something like the most controversial thing you can think of
Yeah.
at any given moment over the last few years. That's what he would do. And instead of us paying attention to his luggage and the obvious problems with Trump, we would be talking about whether or not Kamala's black or whether or not Haitians are eating dogs and cats.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
those things are obvious. But everything else, I think we can clearly see that Trump is completely clueless and he has like extreme loyalists in the White House and they are yes manning his horrible policy ideas at the threat of being ousted.
What's your what do you like what is the fear? Because I sense like a lot of people are like afraid of like his presidency like yeah, like I already told you I'm a gay guy. Like I don't I've never felt afraid by that guy. I just don't know what I've lost all my gay friends because they're just so terrified that, you know, they're going to be what's it called, erased or whatever. So I just want to know like what are you afraid of personally? Because I'm not afraid.
Okay, I'm afraid of Trump completely crippling our economy with his horrible ideas that no, like everybody's too scared to talk, like speak up and say they're bad. Like his tariff idea, um, like imagine one person speaking out and saying, "Hey, this is a real bad idea," such as Elon Musk, and then them having a falling
Mhm.
out, and then having like a Trump administration 2.0 where he just fires everybody who disagrees with him, which is 95% of his administration last time. So I don't think he's open to constructive criticism. I don't think he. Oh, your wind is really distracting. I
Oh
think
yeah,
he
sorry.
constantly says that he's the best and he's the smartest at X, Y, and Z, and he's not. I think he's very profoundly stupid, and
Hmm.
he's doing terrifying things to our economy. He's performing surgery on our economy without any real plan. And it's also very obvious that he either doesn't know how tariffs work or he wants to mislead the public. And MAGA refuses to believe that tariffs are a tax on the importer. He's also doing things and attacking free speech and dismantling things like NPR, PBS. He's pulling very important funding away from Harvard and attacking their tax exempt status, so that so that they bend to his will. Things that are just right out of the fascist playbook, which I know you guys are tired of hearing at this point, but I think that's by design. Like, he's giving y'all fatigue. He's making y'all think we're crying wolf when it's very obviously it's playing out in front of us. You guys are here to defend Trump to the last breath, no matter how bad he does.
Yeah, I mean, I wish he was doing more, to be honest. I don't think it's moving fast enough. I think he's trying to appease everybody when, like, I mean, 70% of the country was like, just do it already. So it's frustrating for me to see, like, him not doing enough, and then everybody's so afraid and complaining about what he's doing that I'm just like, what?
I think it takes a little more nuance for you to say he's not doing enough or he's doing too much. Like, he's doing a lot of things to consolidate power and to test out our legal system. He's doing what we asked
him to do.
You didn't ask him to consolidate power.
Yes, I did. Not like vocally to his face, because I've never met the guy. He's hard to get in contact with, but that's exactly what I want him to do.
You want him to like step on people's civil rights, call for judges that check him to, like, be impeached?
Yes, people that do bad things need to be held accountable again.
Yeah, so these judges aren't doing bad things.
Okay, come on. How much do you believe that what you just said? Judges don't do bad things?
I believe it 100,000% that people like the Supreme Court holding Trump accountable to doing things that are against the Constitution or against the law. I think that is a good thing, and it's very terrifying to see y'all stand behind Trump when he says they need to be impeached or that they're being activists, especially when they're judges he appointed.
Well, I mean, you don't really know people's true intentions until you see it firsthand done to you.
This is a mega reach.
You know what I mean? Like,
a mega reach.
It's not a mega reach. It's called just existing. You've experienced this, right? You think you know somebody. You think that they're exactly what they say they are, and then turns out they've been lying the whole time.
Either all of these people are horrible actors.
Like bad people don't exist.
No, I know. Either all of these people are horrible actors and all scheming against Trump.
Is a father from Maryland. Let's bring him back.
All of these people are either horrible actors and they're all scheming against Trump, or Trump is the horrible guy we're all pinning him down to be. Or that.
No, he's not the horrible guy you're pinning him down to me, because you're trying to find something on him. 34 counts of bloating his worth on a property, and everybody got like, come on.
That's
man.
Wrong, by the way.
That is such a reach.
It's not a reach. Have you looked at the details? Have you looked at the details?
No, I don't care.
Exactly.
I don't care about the details.
None of y'all care about the details.
You guys seem to care so much about everything he's doing while completely ignoring the long-term degradation of society and morals and the sexualizing of children. Did you hear about the Democrat that just got busted today for sexual trafficking? You hear about that guy? What's his name? Perry Tree, or
no?
It just happened today.
We actually have.
This is the kind of stuff that we're talking about. That you guys won't even cover or like vehemently defend. Oh,
okay. Let's look at
children can consent to transitioning their sex and cutting off their body parts. We give you 1 inch. Eventually, you guys are going to be like, kids can consent to anything.
Let's look at it.
That's what we're trying to stop.
Let's look at it.
That's the moral.
Who's doing the crime,
side.
Chris? Who's doing the crime? This is a website.
You want an honest answer?
Yeah. Who is doing the crime?
You want an honest answer?
No, you don't need to answer.
Who do you think is doing all the crime?
I have it right here in
front
of me.
Do you have the statistics? 60% of crime being committed?
Yeah, 60% Republicans are touching and diddling kids.
What? Where did you get this from? CNN?
This is called whoismakingthenews.com. Whoismakingnews.com.
Oh, whoismakingthenews.com.
And most of them, also 12% of them being people from the church. Oops.
You guys love data, don't you? Well, like,
we do.
Okay, you just kind of pivoted away from what I was talking about.
You're sitting here talking about, you're talking about one.
Yeah, but do you see how like kind of crazy that is when you do that? And every time I watch your streams, I come in and like Republicans are just screaming at you, and I'm just like, What
Okay,
are you talking about?
if
Pickles is such a nice guy, and then I'm like, oh wait,
if
I
all you
forget
guys
you won't
have
answer anything.
if all you guys have are appeals to emotion and isolated incidents, I'm gonna pull
We
out the
don't.
facts, I'm gonna pull out the
We don't have
data, and
appeals
show
to
you how you're wrong.
emotion. You guys are the emotional ones. I gave empathy is no good, man. You guys,
Empathy is no good.
well, in short doses, yeah. But when you guys are like, feel bad for this and feel bad for that and feel bad, eventually it just gets exhausting.
No,
It's like
I
you can't
know
feel
that's
bad for everybody.
I know.
Sometimes people just have to be held accountable for
So
their actions.
so let me ask you,
Okay, ask me.
what do you think about Lake and Riley? Do you think Lake and Riley is enough for of a reason for us to spend $88 billion a year doing this stuff with deportations?
Yes,
Okay, so
100%, 1,000%.
that is my argument to you. How you're emotional.
What
That is
what is your
illogical
wait,
and emotional.
wait. What is your argument to me saying that a human life is priceless? You just put a price tag of $80 million
You're invoking
on a
emotion here,
human
right?
life.
No,
I'm not invoking emotion. I'm just pointing out what where you're going with the
how
conversation. You're
much is
trying
a
to like
human life?
get me to
There's
have a
I
gotcha
can
moment,
literally
but you don't
save.
realize that your morality is the gotcha moment.
No, I can literally think of a
It's on
million
display
ways.
for the
I can think
rest
of
of
a
us to
excuse
see.
me. I can think of a million ways to save more than one life with $88 billion. That's why it's stupid. Yellow. There's literally like 1,000 different things we can look at how people die, and you guys chose Lake and Riley. That is an emotional. That is appeal to emotion. I don't know where he went, but there's a million other. More people die from wasp stings than people that have died from undocumented migrants, and that's where you guys sound silly, and you guys have to invoke emotion to it. Wasp stings, chat. Wasp stings. Yeah, he got deported. Hello? Oh, he's gone. Yellow? One pack a day? Are you there? Did you come up on accident?
Yeah, my bad.
You're good. Wasp stings is a tongue twister. Hello?
Hey, I was interested in that crime breakdown chart that you had. I just think you're like missing something.
Okay.
A lot of the country isn't even political, right? How many people even registered voters? It's less than half. Or how many people voted in the last election? It's less than half.
I know, but the data from what we have so far, if we fill in all the
Let me
blanks,
finish.
it would lead to show probably it's more likely to be Republicans. If you guys took one
we
isolated
can use-
incident from today, it's just as silly as me plucking the one isolated incident of that guy who made the Trump derangement syndrome bill in, I think, Minnesota, that he was trying to go diddle 16-year-old girls and saying,
How are
all
you
of y'all
any
are
different
like that.
from the people on Twitter that say like 12% of black people commit half the violent crime?
Because y'all aren't a
they,
race,
like,
and
back
this
it
is
up.
not an immutable
But that's an FBI
trait.
crime statistic that they use.
Okay, but this is not a race. This is a crime statistic, and we can actually see with nuance that.
No, it's they also
can-
use crime statistics. There's
Okay.
racial demographic breakdowns.
Yeah, there's nuance, right? So like poverty leads to crime, and if we
Explain
historically
that. Poverty makes you do violent crime specifically?
sure.
Huh.
Did you not know that?
Wow. Well, I mean, that's an excuse, right? I mean, poor Asian people commit less crimes than rich black men.
Yeah, but there's
same with
also
poor
things
white
called
men.
like generational wealth and generational trauma. So if we enslaved a whole,
So they have to commit violent crimes because of past
Are you-
trauma that they didn't even experience.
I-
So, like, if I'm like a millionaire in the NFL, I have to commit a violent crime, like beat up my girlfriend because my people were oppressed in the past. Like, you see how like That
Are
fails to
you?
reach like
I want you.
99% of
I
humans
want
on
you.
the planet.
I want you to stand down 10 toes strong and tell me: do you think a certain race of people, aka black people, are more inherently violent than other races?
But we do see that all across America, Europe,
It's a yes or
Africa. I
no.
mean, that is something that we see.
You say yes.
They commit more violent crime. Yeah, they have a lower IQ, your propensity to higher crime. Yeah, it's like an IQ thing. There's genetics, right? Like,
It's also.
do you
It's
think
also.
certain like are pit bulls higher or more likely to commit dog attacks than a Chihuahua or like a golden retriever? Right? It's
Woof,
genetics, right?
woof.
You are more like your father. I mean,
Yeah, but
the
those are
father
different.
genetics
Those are
said this.
different
You know,
species and gene.
they're not different. You think a
Pit
golden
bulls.
retriever and a
Pit bulls, yes,
that's
are different species than golden retrievers. Yeah.
no, those are different breeds. Those are both dogs. The species would be dog.
No, they're
What
different.
species? What
It's a different
species is
species.
it then? It's a
They literally have
subspecies.
a
No, that's a
they have a.
subspecies.
So now you admit they're different species, right?
That's just terminology. No, it's a
It's
different
not
breed.
terminology. It's a different type and different genome
Colloquially,
of
species would refer to a different organism, like a different category of organism.
I'm gonna help you out so much right here. I want you to stop referring to different melanin levels to different breeds of dogs. Do you want to stop going down that track?
Oh, now no analogies. Those are bad.
Stop saying all analogies are bad. I'm saying stop metaphorically comparing people of a certain race to certain violent dogs.
No, I'm just saying like genetics are real, right? So like genetics are absolutely a thing, and people's genetics, just like how people are more inclined to be high IQ or.
I hate. First of all, I want to say thank you for coming up because you just got kicked. Thank you, Jody, or I'm sorry, thank you, Jamie in Jaime. Thank you so much for the kick. I was not ready to have that debate. I literally I have a headache. That's too much, dude. It's too much. If guest doesn't know that certain different types of dogs are different species, I don't know how to help you, man. Yeah, you got kicked, Terry. When you start being racist and start spouting eugenics, we're gonna have to get rid of you, bud.
Oh, that was a mistake. What
Okay,
happened?
I got you. Woof. Yellow.
Hello. How you doing?
Doing good. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yep.
Or what do you like about Trump?
I have a bit of a unique perspective on this. I think it might change your mind about what you think about Donald Trump. So, the reason why I voted for him was he's gonna save millions of lives by being pro-life. More people will get to live because
Okay. The claim there
of the
is that
fact
you're equating people to multicellular organisms, like clumps of cells.
I mean, that's what we are.
I think we're more than that.
I mean, that's what we are, though. It doesn't matter. It was just a stage of development, but that's technically what we are.
Okay. I don't grant clumps of cells personhood.
You're a clump of cells.
I am a sentient clump of cells.
It doesn't matter.
It matters to me. It matters
What
to
is
you
sentient?
too.
What is sentient? Give me the definition of sentient.
I'm gonna need help on this one. The capacity for sensation, feeling, the ability to perceive the world through one's senses. So I would argue that something like a fetus or a zygote cannot sense pain the same way you and I do. They don't have personhood. They don't have very much as much meaning as somebody who's developed coming out of the womb. I also think that I value the consent of the mother and the consent to give resources to something more than a clump of cells.
Okay, so you said the thing that makes you different from a zygote is the fact that you have sentience, right?
Yeah.
You're able to sense, right? Okay,
It's
did
more
you
than
know
just
that?
sensing, but yeah, it's a bunch of
Okay,
things.
but okay, did you know that if you put a flashlight on a mother's stomach, the baby actually reacts to the light? They
Yeah, but
cringe
it
away
doesn't.
and they move away.
Yeah,
So does
so
that mean they're not able to sense that? Would that mean they have sentience?
no, that's just an appeal to emotion. So what you're doing is you're looking at that and you're like, "Oh, I can also think of a full-grown baby outside of the womb doing the same thing." And what that actually means to me is that it's maybe just having a biological reaction. It doesn't actually know what's going on.
Yeah, I still believe. Like, I don't think you can convince me, nor can I convince you. But my understanding is that I see it this way. If, for example, there was a mother that was going to go get an abortion and she decided last minute she didn't want to, she had the baby grew up, and somebody approached that baby and said, "Do you wish that your mother aborted you?" The baby's going to say no, right? So you got to let the baby speak too. It's not only just the mother's voice. I think you can't
Obviously, you're asking an
infringe on
actual
others' rights.
you're asking an actual person with personhood. And what I would say is that there are also fetuses that uh, that come out of a mother's womb and unalive that mother or change that mother's life for the worse, and those fetuses might also have a very bad life and might also answer that question much differently.
Okay, I got you on that one. There's people saying here that they wish that their mother might have even aborted them. Well, if
Sure.
you feel that way, I think you need help. You need to go get therapy.
Who's to make that
Instead
decision?
I'm just saying, I'm not making the decision. I'm just recommending that you do because nobody
So
should feel
anybody who
that way.
thinks differently from you needs help.
But wouldn't you say that feeling like your mother should have aborted you is a negative thing?
I don't know. I'm not the one to make those decisions. Like I'm also a believer in
Okay,
people
do you
doing
think murdering somebody?
voluntary like assisted sewer slide.
Okay, so do you think that somebody having thoughts of suicidal ideation is a good thing, or feeling like they don't want to be alive? Is that a good thing?
Um, I don't think it's a
Why are you
healthy
saying
thing.
that should
You
be?
can't say good, bad,
Yes.
right, or wrong. I would say it's an unhealthy thing.
Okay, yeah. So
Without reconciliation, it's unhealthy.
okay, so would you say it's an unhealthy thing for somebody to say that their mother wanted to abort them?
Or I would also say that it's an undesirable state. So there's two ways to get out of that undesirable
That's
state.
that's
And
just a synonym for not a good thing.
no,
An undesirable thing is not.
undesirable state means you can go either way with it, right? You can carry it out, or you can not do it, right?
Yeah, you're doing some gymnastics, dude. Why can't you just admit to the point that I'm trying to make? I'm
We're
saying that
we're
is
debating.
it
This is mental gymnastics.
but I mean though, you can't seem to admit to a simple statement that I'm making. Is it a good thing for somebody to feel like, oh, I wish my mom would have aborted me?
It's an
I just wish.
undesirable state. Sure.
Okay, okay. And you agree that those people need to get some form of help? Yes.
Yeah, but what does that help look like? Who are we to say which direction they should go with it?
Okay, but anyways, my point still stands, which is that if you ask anybody, do you wish that your mother would have aborted you, and they say, oh yeah, I wish she would have, then that's you said an undesirable state. So people should feel that they want to live. So who are we to decide to infringe on the rights of another human being because they are at a certain stage of development? Like that makes no difference because some babies are born premature, and also when say a pregnant mother dies, that's considered a double a double homicide. Homicide. There we
Yeah,
go.
I
I
know,
got the word.
but there's also a thing called self-defense. So not all unaliving is homicide.
Yeah, sure, but still though, and then also people mourn, like if a mom had like a miscarriage or whatever, they mourn that, right? So there's some
Sometimes
value there. Why is it disregarded so easily when somebody sees it as like an inconvenience?
I've participated in an abortion before and I didn't mourn. What do you say to that?
Well, You can't do that because you're not a woman. So I don't even know what you're
The
trying to say.
woman involved didn't mourn at all either. We went out to eat that night.
Okay, so she just did it.
Yeah.
How many weeks?
Probably 8 or 9.
8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't feel any way about it.
She was very relieved.
See, that's the problem though. There, you see, we get more insensitive to a human life. We become numb to it, and I think it makes us like
Okay, but it also disproves your problem.
this is the problem with like liberals. It's just freedom, 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 freedom. Too much freedom. There needs to be a limit on that. People shouldn't be able to do these things. That's
Okay.
where I stand.
All right.
And I have a vote, and I'm gonna use it for that choice every single time.
Okay. Well, you just got paid to kick. Good God. W Laney's in the chat. Laney. I tried to bring up a woman to help with that debate, and she didn't, for some reason, didn't load up on the panel. So for everybody to know, I just want y'all to know I usually don't debate that without a woman present. But yeah, trying to invoke emotion again, being like, listen, you should care about clumps of cells when obviously people don't have to, I think is silly. Terry, you're not welcome back. You were paid to kick. I just think you're a horrible person in general too. So
How could you call anyone else a horrible person when you're literally calling babies a clump of cells? Like, how would you feel if you were aborted? That makes no sense.
I wouldn't feel anything, right?
Exactly, but why do you deserve life over someone else just because they're smaller than you?
I don't
Like,
deserve
in a
it. I
different
don't
stage
deserve
of
life over
development.
someone else. I just think that I don't deserve women's or someone else's resources
Okay.
without their consent.
What do you mean someone else's resources? Like the guy said, it's literally a double homicide whenever you
It's-
kill someone that is pregnant.
Okay, but if it's also self-defense if you get rid of something that's threatening your life, right?
What? Who's threatening your life? What are you talking about?
Did you know that having a baby can kill you, right?
Sure, but that's the risk you take whenever you get pregnant.
Okay.
Don't have sex. Don't have sex.
That's
then,
like
if
saying
you're
that's the
worried
risk
about
you
that.
take when you drive. Like
Close your
you're just
legs.
saying you're not consenting to the worst case scenario when you drive. Dalton, oh my
You are
god.
consenting to the worst case scenario when you drive. You absolutely are.
No, you're not. You don't
100%
have to.
are.
You don't have to commit to the worst case scenario
You,
and like
you just
avoid
said
doctor's help.
you know the
or
consequences
medical.
whenever you get behind a vehicle. You know the consequences, what they can be. So yes, you
Okay,
are consenting.
next time you get in an accident and you need doctor's medical, like a medical attention, we're gonna say no. You consented to getting ran into a crash. You consented
No one
to this.
consented to that. No,
Don't intervene.
Your logic is flawed. When you get behind the wheel of a vehicle, you absolutely consent to the worst possible thing that happened. Maybe you don't consent
No,
is
you
the
don't.
right word. Yes, you absolutely do. You know what can happen. You know the consequences.
I
It's
think
just like getting pregnant.
consent-
It's just like getting pregnant and having sex.
Consent
Consent
is an ongoing thing, right? Consent is an ongoing thing. You
absolutely no. You are
Oh my
100% off.
Babe, stop. Laney, thank you for another $40 for the kick. Guys, pro tip, women don't like you arguing about their rights without like them present. Like they don't like men arguing whether or not they get the full menu of healthcare at the doctor, and they just have to sit from this like the stands. They don't like that. They don't like that.
Yo, what's up, man?
What's up, bro? Are you a Trump supporter?
Well, nah, but I voted. I don't agree with abortion.
Then don't have one.
I'm a Democrat that voted for Kamala Harris. But one thing I don't agree with on the Democrat side of abortion, I just don't understand how that's still a life, but that's a life that can come into this world. Like I don't care.
guys, if you're not a Trump supporter, don't hop on the panel. And also, if you didn't just hear the part about me not wanting to debate pro-lifers, if they're not women, if you're not a woman, maybe sit this one out. Maybe sit this one out. Guys, if you are a friendly, please hop out of the box. Please, please, please. Yeah, if you're a man and you don't like abortions, don't have one. Yellow?
Hello.
Hi there.
Hey.
Are you a Trump supporter?
Absolutely not.
Okay, do you have something you want to say really quick?
Yeah. Back to the guy that was saying about abortions, they have no right to choose what women can do with their bodies. I think men should have vasectomies until they're of age and mature enough to have children.
Can we get a 1 in the chat for all the vasectomy kings out there? I'm actually one of them. Best $700 I've ever spent in my life, baby. Turn it into a toy gun. Nobody gets hurt. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
It's gonna take you to bring me up.
What up, Debo?
What up, Pickles? How you been?
Doing all right. Doing all right.
I mean, at least you know when you bring me up, somebody's gonna pay to kick me in a matter of minutes, I'm sure. So I would think you'd be a little swifter. Get you that money, boy.
I'm not here. I'm. It's not always about the money, man. This is my job.
Well, then what
but
else are you doing this for?
I genuinely feel like I have a duty to speak out against the Trump administration.
Okay, let's do that because I think the abortion topic is just ridiculous. It gets too emotional. Everybody gets way too hummed up on emotions about abortion, and not to mention it's a done deal. It's been the Supreme Court has spoken, and bye bye. So at that point, it's not really debatable.
Well, hey, I hope you have that same conviction when we're talking about the other 9-0 Supreme Court ruling we had recently. Yeah?
The Garcia, where they said that they had to attempt to bring him back, and then Trump said, "Are you going to bring him back?" And he said, "No." He's like, "Oh well, we tried."
Yeah, so like
Supreme Court won. Yeah, cool.
No,
Done deal.
there's more to it, right? They're doing discovery. They're having to disclose all of the details of this case with Supreme Court and federal courts in the coming weeks.
Didn't they just rule? I mean, this is what's funny about Garcia's. You have literal senators going down to El Salvador. How many of those senators went down to North Carolina where there were actually American citizens that were harmed by a natural disaster?
Okay, all right.
Where was
Debo,
all the smoke? Where was all the clout from the Democrats?
Debo, I want you to get on your phone real quick, and I want you to Google Trump denies FEMA aid to 3 Republican states. I want you to go ahead and Google that because he just did it. He just straight up denied FEMA.
You're pivoting. This is not
a
pivot.
pivot.
I think
this is
not
a pivot.
Trump
is literally denying
FEMA
FEMA
your
funds.
ACL in half on that pivot. It might be.
This is not a pivot. You can't invoke states who have been in natural disasters and Trump in the same sentence without me saying, "Hey, did you know that Trump is literally not giving any aid to states?"
We're talking about Garcia right now. And you
brought up North Carolina, and I brought up Arkansas.
That have to do. So that happened today. I've been working all day.
That was
so
not
I
today.
Been able to be
that
on
was
my
been
phone
days ago.
Waiting. Well, whatever it was. This is the first time I've heard about it. So if that's the case, great.
Trump told Sarah Huckabee Sanders to go fuck herself because she asked
wow,
for.
That sounds like something you would say.
No, but I mean, he basically said, no, your states are going to have to figure this out themselves. So while you guys were crying about $750, Trump is giving them now $0. I guess that's the better situation for y'all, right?
So the $6 billion that he gave him in February or whatever. So that wasn't. I mean,
No,
it's
this is
not to
different.
mention Trump came in. He gave emergency shelter. They were living in literal. There were children that were
He
dying
didn't do
in
that. That
caves.
was actually something Biden did, and it was just approved. Trump
Wow.
held on to it, and it was approved January 6th.
Wow.
And then Trump is
I'm
pretending
talking. I said
to do it for y'all.
February. I said in February.
Yeah, I know. It was
I
approved
said in
January
February.
6th, and Trump held on to it and didn't release till February. Yes.
How could, if it was done in January 6th, Trump wasn't even in office yet, and then the funds were released in January 6th, how could Trump hold the funds if it was done before he even had executive powers?
Listen,
Like, you just got to walk through some of these things a little bit better, Pickles.
Listen, you're not going to sit here and raise doubts about what I say when you don't know about it in the first place, man.
No, I'm talking about the one in February. You're talking about something that happened 5 days ago.
Okay.
And I said I don't know about
Trump
that.
is literally
I
dissolving
own that.
FEMA. Is that better or worse than giving states $750 per emergency and then also helping rebuild those states? Is it better or worse?
I'm gonna have to look into that. Trump is trying to eliminate
Trump is not.
FEMA.
He literally announced it, and we warned you guys months before the election, and you guys still didn't care. You fell for it, and now Trump is doing away with FEMA. Yes.
I mean, to me, it just seems like a lot of the same old tactics of Trump's doing this, everybody look out, and then you read into it, and it's like, oh, that's complete bullshit. I mean, I could give you countless examples of that happening.
Arkansas. Trump denies disaster aid. Tell states to do more. Yikes.
What happened in Arkansas and as far as a natural disaster that you're like, what was the
tornadoes?
So there was a tornado in Arkansas, and how much damage did it do to the city, town?
It killed
or
3 people,
whatever
injured
it was?
32 others. Detailed significant property loss and damage in
I know. What
Arkansas
was the
congressional
total amount of
delegation.
damage? What was the total amount of damage assessed? Because in order for FEMA to step in, there has to be an excessive amount in order for the federal government to come in.
It obviously.
And that's where the states are responsible. Hold on, Pickles. That's when the states are responsible for their own disaster relief. So that's why I'm asking what the amount is that they requested.
So I'm going to help you out. This is something that usually receives FEMA aid and disaster relief, and he didn't get it. Okay, unless you can prove me wrong on that. That is the case.
Okay, I'm just asking what the amount of damage was, because before
do you know what the threshold is before I even tell you?
It depends on this. It depends on the size of the city and like how many people are there, because rural areas, all that.
Spare me,
so
man.
it
Spare
differentiates between
Obviously,
populations.
the ruby red governor of Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, his former White House secretary, asked for help, and he said no. That's the end of the story.
I'm very skeptical on just believing on the trust me, bro. That's the case.
Listen, I'm sorry this
who
is
wrote
happening,
the article,
but
first of all?
this is Trump. We've got dog.
MSNBC.
I'm all over the place. I know you're trained to not believe certain news media outlets, but this is on every news media outlet you can think of. Which one do you want me to click? Which one do you want me to click?
I'm literally just asking. Sorry, my shit's switching between my Wi-Fi and my house. So
I've got
literally, I'm just asking. Go ahead.
He literally told states that they need to do more. They need to do more themselves. So if you guys want to talk about Biden not helping this state or that state, this is Trump literally not helping them, and you guys defending it, and it's disgusting, it's gross, it's hypocritical,
I believe it,
it's tiring. I'm tired of it.
I believe in order for FEMA to step in, I believe that in order for FEMA to step in, I believe the damage has to exceed $2 billion to allow for federal funds to step in.
What is the
so that's why I'm asking.
Threshold for FEMA to get involved in disasters. What is the FEMA typically threshold of $1 million? Well, we easily hit that. If the 40 people died,
$1 million.
yep, $1 million. So
$1
you just made up $2 billion.
It's that, dude. There's no way it's $1 million, dude.
Hey man,
Why would
now
you
you're
need? Why would a
downplaying.
city
Now you're
or a state?
downplaying people who are in a
It's
disaster
not.
that need help.
That's not fucking true. That's
Next time you
Okay,
guys are
you're
in
right.
a political
You're right.
race and you guys are crying about $750, I'm going to remind you about this, and you're going to have to answer for it.
So the part that you glazed right over is that you literally, I've never seen a Democrat, Senate, or Republican. I will be fair here. That literally went down to El Salvador to get a sexual or not human. I'm trying to be very TikTok friendly here.
Yeah,
So
so I'm going to help you out. This person has not been he's not been convicted of any crime. So whatever you say is literally just without process, without due process, and I'm just going to sit here and call Trump a grapist. You're cutting out. We're losing you. We're losing you. Don't worry, Biden's broadband will be rolling out to your state soon, bub.
Go home, get.
We're losing you, Debo. We're losing you. That's what happens. Doug, you literally have to have your feet all the way behind your head to justify Trump not giving disaster relief to states. Your feet have to be all the way behind your head. You have to be in like multiple different yoga poses for this. Not looking good.
Hello.
Yellow?
How you guys doing? How you doing, Pickles?
Doing good. Are you a Trump supporter?
I am, sir.
Okay. What do you like about Trump?
What do I like about Trump? What do I like about Trump? I like his abrasiveness. I think he's very abrasive. I like it.
You want to give me something a little more substantial? Because I can give you like a few ways where his abrasiveness has really been bad for us.
I think it has been bad for us in some ways, and I think it's been positive in other ways. I think he's a disruptor. I think he disrupts. I think he brings attention to it. I think he's at fault sometimes, and he has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. But he does cause people to look. I think that even though he does lie, everybody does lie.
This is like looking for a silver lining for an atomic bomb being dropped. Like, do you have anything more?
I like that he can communicate. That's pretty cool. I like that he can like walk across or walk stairs and downstairs. That's pretty neat. That's pretty sick. I enjoy his.
I don't think he's a good communicator. I think he's a horrible communicator. He's a horrible diplomat. I think he has like a 40-word vocabulary, bro.
He's like a what?
He has like a 40-word vocabulary.
I'm sorry. Well, we had the worst education in the world. I do believe we have like the worst testing scores, the worst education. We spend the most on education.
It's not true. We're ranked 8th.
That. Like how much money do we spend on education?
We're ranked 8th.
What are we ranked on as spending on education?
Something like 28th.
28th, really? I thought we were like top tier with that, as far as spending and everything like that.
No, we like there are countries that's like have free higher education like all the way through. So no.
Yeah, that didn't really follow through with Biden, did it? That debt free or college-free debt or whatever.
Yeah,
Or erase all your
federal
debt.
judges stopped him, and it turns out Biden didn't call for their impeachment, so that was cool.
Oh, really? That's pretty shitty. Man, I just think, I mean, ain't really much changed, to be honest with you, man. To be honest with you, we got tariffs, everything's inflating like crazy. That kind of sucks. That blows. I do really enjoy the Doge hopping in there with old Elon Musk, even though I think he's kind of a fucking idiot too. Like, he's really smart. I mean, he's a fucking billionaire. He has Starlink and fucking Teslas and launching fucking all kinds of shit into the fucking sky. All kinds of. He's got to be somewhat smart. Hi, baby. What's up? I'm on a live chat right now. You don't want to hop in here. This guy's probably about to trash talk me like crazy here in a minute.
I don't
What's
trash
up?
talk.
Okay. All right. Awesome, honey. I'll bring him in. Love you. I do like the Doge, man. I like, all these. I mean, we know corruptness has been going on for a hot minute, both left and right. And they're always playing the fence and everything else and pointing the finger the other way, deflect and direct. We haven't seen much about the Republican side. Doge hasn't really investigated those guys too much.
There's really there's no fraud at all whatsoever found by Doge at this point still, unless you know something I don't.
Well, what about okay, you can correct me if I'm wrong. What about all this like shit going over there in the Middle East about what was it? Sesame Street over there? Like,
yeah, so if Congress approved for those funds to be directed towards that, that's not fraud. That's just something you disagree with.
Just disagree. Man, we got people starving in the street.
You guys are cutting. You guys are cutting tax, like you guys are cutting food stamps and all sorts of stuff that help lower income families. So if you want people to like get help in that sense, you would vote Democrat.
Yeah, but the problem with Democrats is everybody's like, the way I look at Democrats is like a sympathy card being pulled all the time. Sympathy all the time. They're like money, money, money. Just giving money out left and right like crazy.
So you don't believe in helping poor people?
I think you're ever going to help anybody if you just constantly have them living and assisting off the federal government. What about when the federal government finally collapses? We're on the verge of it. I mean,
we're like the richest country in the world. There's no reason we should have starving people.
How are we the richest country? How much are we in debt, man? Just insane. We don't have any production.
Our GDP is $27 trillion. But yes, Trump has put $12 trillion of that in debt. Yes.
So Biden put us in debt too. I mean,
4.4. That's about it.
And then Obama put us in debt. And then handing a bunch of money over to the Middle East like crazy. I mean, paying tariffs and everything else to get.
Obama reduced the deficit. Republicans have always exploded the deficit, and Democrats always reduce it.
So Democrats are perfect. They're greatest thing ever. We should just all vote Democrat. One way, one mind. Everybody.
Do you
vote
do
Democrat.
this to your wife when you argue with her? You just throw your hands up and say, "You're right, I'm wrong."
We have a more.
You're always right. I'm always wrong. I mean, there's nuance, right?
I'm just asking. Like, so what do the Republicans do right? Does he just suck?
Republicans, in my opinion, are like really bad at everything, but that's my opinion. But Democrats are the ones responsible for all of the things that do help, like people in poverty, lower and middle class. We're the ones who would have given tax cuts to those groups. We are the ones who also run successful states and also pay for those poor red states to continue running and in doing their whole experiment of running Republican red states that literally suck at every metric possible that I can think of. All of them are insolvent, just about, besides two. And we fund them, just like you complained that we create people that are dependent on the government. You guys create entire states dependent on the government. So should we stop that?
Well, what about California? I mean, it's a crime-ridden state. There's homelessness through the roof. I mean, they
California
have
is it's a state of 50 million people, and their GDP is $3.7 trillion, and we fund about 20% of the nation's taxes and keep all of those poor red states in business. Unless you know something about red states,
because you're on the West Coast, you're straight on the West Coast. You're sitting there. Of course, all the goods are going to be transported to California and everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure. Yeah, that
Nobody's
just
going to
makes
vote
that's
for a
logical sense.
Republican governor to come defund all of the social safety nets that stop these things from being even worse. So there's nothing that red states or red legislators do to stop homelessness or to stop poverty or to stop all of these complaints you have, unless you know something I don't. They don't do anything. They just complain about it. Is there a thing about red states, or is there a law that they try to pass that does that?
Stuff like that for homeless vets and everything else. I mean, I see a lot of things.
They don't do anything. They basically say pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's it. They just go around yelling at poor people. They don't help them.
Yell at poor people. I'm not poor. I'm never yelled at poor people. I try to help anybody I can.
And red states are more crime. They're more violent in crime. They have more property crime. They score worse in just about every metric, including education, divorce, teen pregnancy, literally everything.
Red bad. Red bad. Red very bad.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
So red's bad. So I need a vote for Kamala in 2028, right?
Please God, yes.
Vote for Kamala.
Yes.
I don't think so, dude. She just seems so fake, dude. She
And
just
Trump,
seems.
the person with 30,000 recorded lies, isn't fake.
I don't know, man. I mean, but Kamala, you know, she paid all those artists and everything else up there to shake their ass and dance and everything else.
They didn't do anything. I know you guys keep saying that, but I haven't seen any evidence of that.
You didn't see what's her face? Like shaking her ass, and then all the
Megan Thee
Democrats were sitting
Stallion?
there.
She wasn't shaking
and
her
all
ass.
the white Democrats were like, "Fuck's going on here? I don't know who this is. This is crazy."
Nobody was doing that. I love Megan Thee Stallion, but no, they
love
weren't
Meg-
doing that. Trump
Show me dance
did
moves.
have an adult
Show
film
me dance
actress at the RNC.
What's show me? Tell me your top 3 favorite songs of Megan Thee Stallion.
I honestly don't know.
I thought you were a fan, big fan.
I'm not a big fan, but I the songs that are big hits,
Love
they're good.
Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah, I got you. That's cool. That's real cool.
Like I mean,
Man,
she's way better than Kid
know.
Rock. I know that.
You think? Do what?
She's better than Kid Rock. I know that.
What'd you say?
She's better than Kid Rock. I know that.
Oh, better than Kid Rock. I throw them both in the trash can, to be honest with you.
All right. I don't know how, but you got paid to kick. I don't know. I'm so sorry, man. I hope you have a good day.
You too. You guys have.
Jody with another pay to kick. Holy moly, dude. I feel like I would have seen a million Facebook memes of like the second Meg Thee Stallion twerked or shook her ass, but I got a feeling she didn't do any of that. Like I'd never seen any of that. They just say it. Have y'all seen proof of that happening? I've never seen it. I feel like there would have been like a 4-second like clip, like a boomerang of her shaking her ass and saying this is what Democrats vote for, but I got a feeling she didn't do that. They just sexualize her because they're, I don't know, some sort of way towards that kind of people.
Yo, what's good? Yo.
What's up? Are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah, I'm a Trump supporter.
Are you over 18?
Hmm?
Are you over 18?
Yeah.
What do you like about Trump? Hello? Dude, I still can't get over the fact that that guy running for Congress tried to invoke me in my proximity to the Unfuck America tour and me being racist when literally Trump invited fucking Nick Fuentes over for dinner. Literally, you're the party of Yahtzees. I can't get over it. Chat, tap the screen. Let's get to 150K. And Kanye. Oof, dude. Terry said W Nick. Terry, are you an actual white supremacist? You seem like you are. About P. Diddy? Yes, Trump has a lot of pictures of P. Diddy. Hello?
Hello.
What's up? Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, I
Okay.
am.
What do you like about Trump?
So can we talk a little bit about the Unfuck America tour real quick so I can get my thoughts, then we can get rolling with Trump a little bit?
I don't want to talk about Unfuck America tour.
Do you mind if I make like a 20-second comment, then we can move on?
No.
Okay, so we'll go right into Trump. My biggest thing with Trump is I just think we had too many migrants come into the country over the past couple of years. And for me personally, I just think that it was way too many. I understand that Biden might have deported more recently than Trump has, and Trump needs to get those numbers up. But two things can be true. You can also let in a lot of people at once, and you can also be deporting a lot. So that was my biggest issue, and I think it's spreading all over the country. It's not just the swing states anymore. I flew into Chicago O'Hare in like 2022, and there were hundreds of people in like these makeshift tent cities. You go to Manhattan in New York, which one of the richest zip codes in the whole country. There's people, sleeping on the streets, and again, there's always been homeless.
Can I ask you something?
Yep.
What's the population of the United States?
350 million.
How many undocumented migrants do you think are here?
15 million.
I would say maybe 13. 15's pretty
Okay.
charitable. What percent of 350 million is 15?
I don't know.
2%.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to tell me that you've noticed the difference between Trump's 11.9 million and the 13 million that are here? You're going to notice that 1.8 to 2% change? Like
yes, because the way that they were processed in was a catastrophe, and they were given pretty much no way to kind of mold into society. They were putting them up in hotels. They were putting them up in the YMCA.
you're talking about asylum seekers.
Yes.
Okay, those are people legally here.
Yes, but the thing with the asylum claims is 90% of them are rejected. So the real
It's not true.
discrepancy. Yes, it is.
It's 30% are approved.
Okay, so 70% are denied, and the discrepancy between Republican, Democrat is what do we do with those people? Now, I want you to have a fair argument with, not an argument, just a debate. I don't know one single Democrat that I have in my life. Again, I'd like to socialize, that is supportive of after they have their due process, after they have no criminal convictions, no nothing, clean record, they're sweet, abuela, the nicest person ever. There's not a single Democrat that is for them getting removed from the country. I am.
That's not true.
I want them out, but then we start pulling on the heartstrings. Okay, well, who do they know here? How many kids do they know? And then
first of all, what's your sensitivity to this? So, besides you having to look at the legal migration system of people coming here and claiming asylum because we have fucked with their country in such a way that they have to start migrating.
Some of them, yes.
So, what's the pain point for you? Because they're helping our economy. I don't agree with that
at
net
all.
tax contributors. It's not really something you can disagree with. That's literally just the math that Congressional Budget Office has given us.
Would you like me to address you as Pickles?
Sure.
So Pickles, the number one thing, yes, those I would equivalent to workers and stuff like that. But recently, over the past couple of years, they are not allowed to work. The people that Biden was going through
true.
there
They get a work permit in 180 days.
Well, that's the thing. What do you do for the 6 months that they don't have permits? What do you do if there's no judges? What do you do if they're shacked up someplace and they just on taxpayer? They don't have a reason to be here. So what happens is naturally, if you as a man or a woman, as a human being in your 20s or 30s,
so for 6 months they can't, but after that they can, and then for 80 years, their entire life they contribute to society. That's what you're worried about, is 6 months?
Yes, it's 6 months as a human being that we don't have anything to do. So if we can't work, we don't have a purpose in life. What do? We go look for trouble. We hit the department stores. We steal. We do those things.
It's inherently not true either. Like, we have the data and statistics that show that they are
Pickles,
1/4
I'm
less
just telling
likely
you
to
my
do violent crime and 1/3 less likely to do property crime. In fact, last year, 29 murders have happened from 12.5 million to 13 million people. If we just consolidated those people on an island, it would be the safest island on planet Earth. It'd be the safest country, and we should invite more people.
Pickles,
People who are undocumented commit less crime.
Pickle. The problem is that we don't have a really a good way to decipher between the people that want to claim asylum, that are gangbangers and problems and all the problems from the other countries, versus that abuela that's coming across the border because,
Well, it turns out we have the data on that, and it turns out when they come over, they're not in poverty anymore. They're not in extreme, crazy environment, and those things don't happen. When you're here in the United States, it turns out if you're an undocumented migrant, you commit less crime. So it's a non-issue.
Pickles, what about all the that's again, of course, I would even say most of them are coming here and they are trying to be citizens, they're trying to work, they're trying to be good people. But my question for you, Pickles, is at what point do we realize that there is a problem with some of the people that are coming and doing these crimes, heinous crimes? I mean,
when it exceeds that of like natural born citizens, then I think it would be fair for us to start isolating them and start crying about it.
Pickles, we have 300 million citizens.
Then we talk about per capita.
Okay, well, we can talk about per capita, but I don't have the numbers. The main thing that I'm trying to say...
We have the numbers, bro. It's
okay,
literally they commit crime at a rate that's 1/4 or 1/3 that of a U.S. citizen when it comes to 1-to-1. Yes.
Okay, so let's just say it's 1/3. That's still too much.
No, it's
because
not.
they're not supposed to be here. Pickles,
No.
the reason why Trump was able to win, it's not because he's the smartest person. It's not because he's this amazing guy that he does magic tricks upstairs. It's because people were upset. Stuff cost too much money, and there were too many migrants here. It's really simple.
No,
and
it's
again,
not. This is the thing called nativism. And what they do is they get you extra worried about the smallest number of things that happened, and they get you to basically emotionally accept the fact that they're willing to take away their rights. They dehumanize them. This is a thing they did back in 1930s. We learned from this, or some of us did. And you guys fell for it. So 29 murders last year, you guys are willing to throw billions and billions and billions. We spent 240 billion more than we did last year with Trump's shenanigans so far.
There's other crimes that happen.
No, I know. And they literally commit crimes at way less a rate of that. So, like, if you want to talk about ways to save lives instead of the ones you care extra about because they were done by non-citizens, we can talk about like car crashes. We can talk about gun deaths. We can talk about actual murders.
Those are all problems.
And those would be much cheaper to address than trying to get the number 29 to go to 0, spending $88 billion a year just on deporting them and shrieking our economy in the process. That is a very dumb way to address crime.
Well,
attacking the smallest percentage of crime.
Pickles, I can be called, I'm a nativist, I'm a nationalist, because I am a white man. But I guess my question for you is then why would so many people of their kind vote for Trump, according to what you're saying?
You're just looking for people. You're looking for confirmation bias. You're like, why did everyone else get suckered like I did? We can't all be dumb.
I can only speak for white men. I guess I'm asking you because you're intelligent with these things, and I actually do respect your opinion because you know what you're talking about. Why was he able to win so many of the Latino vote? In your mind? I just want your opinion.
How did Hitler get elected? You tell me.
Hitler got elected.
Just about every time an authoritarian figure has come to power,
they've been
elected, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So
again,
you asking me how this is done does not negate the fact that it was done wrong.
My TikTok account would probably be over if I gave my opinion why Schmittler was able to be elected, because there was a lot of problems in Germany at the time.
And they scapegoated a certain demographic.
You know what?
Just like y'all are doing, yes.
But Pickles, that demographic is still getting it today. It's never changed, and if anything, it's coming back. It's coming back for what they're doing to the people in Gaza and stuff like that. It's horrible, but they've been able to.
Bro,
to go.
All right, we're gonna tread carefully, Tyler. I don't know where you're going with that.
Well, what I'm saying is that the scapegoating has kind of came back, So we can go off topic for 20 seconds here, then we'll reel it back in. A lot of people on the campuses and stuff, or not even just in our own Congress, we ask ourselves is where is their number one loyalty? Is it to America or is it to that state over there? And the
Or
question is,
where's their loyalty? Is it to the Constitution or the president? And I think your party cares more about Trump than the Constitution. That's what I would say.
I think both parties care about their party more because a couple years ago, the Second Amendment was they had to get rid of that. I remember I think it was like 2 years ago. Some judge in Texas tried to block, or actually a federal judge blocked Biden's abortion pill. And AOC went on the TV and said, well, we should listen to that. There's no judge. So I think both parties can agree, and maybe you don't agree personally, but there's no way that one judge, some crazy right or left, should be trying to dictate the president's policies. I don't agree with that anyway.
We have federal judges to check and interpret the laws being put into place. For you guys to start having this brilliant idea to circumvent the checks and balances, that's when we get authoritarianism. And the way that they've been able to do this and convince people of doing this in the past is in the name of national security. So for you guys to be so willing to give Trump more authority to fix this problem he's convinced you we have, yes, you're willing to give him extra power, you're willing to give him an extra term, you're willing to put aside the Constitution, and I think that's fucking dangerous and disgusting, and you guys should start criticizing each other, and if you're not, you're going to keep getting these cult allegations like you have.
Well, Pickles, I think we've been getting the allegations for 10 years now. I think we're so far deep in this thing that any single thing that he would back on or say, you know what, you guys are right. What would they call him in the news? Oh, he's this, he's that, he's weak. And, we're so far deep in this hole that any kind of compromise or any kind of, you know what, you're right. I should listen to this. Oh yeah, he's a pussy. Blah blah blah. Oh yeah, we got him, guys. It's like this. It's like we're on.
He's
this
a very
team.
fragile man. I don't know what you're saying, how he's not, but he is.
Oh, I'm not saying he is, but I'm talking more on the media, and that's why he wouldn't do it. If he really wanted to bring back, this people are talking about segregation, all this stuff. We've had segregation, this de facto segregation in this country for 50 years. And the only way to really address that problem is just to force people and have racial quotas, which nobody's ever going to want to do.
Please, Rich, please save me.
Oh God, you're bringing the reinforcements are coming.
No, what's up, dude? I'm cool.
Hey, he's chill, man. He's chill.
I'm super chill. I'm old. I'm super old. I'm 42, so
Okay.
I ran out of fight
You
a
ran
long
out of
time ago.
screaming.
Tyler, you mentioned the Constitution versus Democrats, Republicans. Yeah, give me a second. Okay, did Joe Biden and Barack Obama sign an executive order that says guns are now illegal?
No.
To your knowledge, and maybe I'm wrong, but to your knowledge, has any Democratic president ever tried to invalidate an amendment straight up and down without any question with an executive order?
President, no. Governor, yes.
What happened when, if you want to expand on that, which governor it was, that'd be great, but what happened when that hit the courts?
It was in New Mexico, I think 2023 or 2024, and I did not pay attention after that. I just know that she suspended the Second Amendment. That was her executive order. Didn't pay any more attention after that.
Do you think that guns are legal to own in New Mexico right now?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. So my point is, let's be real clear. The both sides thing is abused by both sides, but it's abused really badly. And if you look at the number of executive orders that Trump has signed, and if you look at what he's trying to do, trying to erase birthright citizenship and trying to get around due process, which literally says all persons are entitled to due process, like all people, human beings. I mean, those are two straight up amendments. If Democrats are trying to undo things, they're going about it with the legal route, which is a very painful, very frustrating route, which is why it hasn't happened yet.
Well,
Donald Trump is coming straight at the Constitution and trying to just say, no, I don't want it to be that way.
Well, Rich, I want to ask you, I feel like one of the Democrats, the Democratic criticisms of their own party is that they don't play tough. They don't do things. I know a lot of people that didn't even show up this past election because, like, you know what, they don't really fight for what they really believe in. And I guess my interpretation of this is a lot of Democrats want a Trump on their side, you know, to break norms and not listen to the parliamentarian stuff like that. You know, they kind of want that more like fighter on their side. And you know, I don't know. That's just what I think. For example, like Chuck Schumer's getting just destroyed in the media, and he's been I would think a solid Democrat his entire life, especially from being from New York, and because he went well on with one funding bill, now he's the worst person ever.
I would say he's the worst person ever, but yeah, I mean, we see that too. Obviously, there are leftists who are, rightfully very angry that Trump is trying to erase amendments of the Constitution without passing a new amendment, which is how you get rid of an old amendment. And it's very difficult, very painful. That is obviously not the path forward for this country, to just have the pendulum violently swinging back and forth until the whole freaking clock breaks apart. And that is why you'll also see, I think, in 2026, 2028, you'll have some House races where the more aggressive, like the angry leftist is going to win, obviously, and the more libertarians.
I agree with that, and that's what I always say. Like,
hang on 1 second, hang on. But as far as I think who we're going to pick as the nominee for 2028, it's not going to be the Trump of the left. It's not going to be someone coming in saying we need to erase the Constitution. It'll be somebody who's going to come in and say, okay, now that we know these threats are real, let's use the actual levers of power and actually use them, which is our biggest problem. Is even the things that are at our disposal on the left, the people like Chuck Schumer aren't taking up, because they're saying we want to minimize damage, even though catastrophic damage is happening every single day. We've all acclimated to the fact that there will be damage done. And so we want somebody who's going to go fight. Like, we all know we're going to get hit, but we're going to get hit whether we fight back or not. So we might as well fight back.
But can you elaborate, like, when you say there's going to be a lot of damage? I mean, maybe for policy positions, but like that's what, like, I don't understand. Like, in 18 months, you're probably going to take the House back, just like every 2 years. Mostly the opposition always wins. And then the presidents are usually 50-50. It's up for air. But that's why I just don't understand, like, there's so much like this is the end, and I just don't see it.
I don't think this is the end.
Okay, well, thank you. I don't think it is either.
And that's not the argument I make. I mean, this is a living country with a living, breathing constitution. The originalist constitutionalists, the old school Republicans like Scalia and Clarence Thomas, or at least that they called themselves that, they were the ones 10 years ago saying that we got to go back to the original Constitution and nobody should challenge anything in the Constitution. That's why it's another reason why people on the left are so insanely angry right now, is because even the principled, value-oriented Republican Party that we had been told was true all along with the Christian values and everything, every single one of those things has gone out the window in their bowing down to Donald Trump. The religious values, the cheating on your spouse, the government spending, the military recklessness. I mean, every single thing that I was led to believe as a citizen for 42 years has turned out to be just flipped upside down by the Republican Party. And it's the opposite of what they promised us all. So,
Rich, I was told before that Democrats are fighting for this, but at the end of the day, I remember in 2008 or 2010 when they had the supermajority and everyone wanted Medicare for all, they wanted other reforms. They didn't do a fucking thing what their voters really wanted. You know, they did like a Republican light stuff like Obamacare. They could have gone for the juggernaut. They could have gone for the Hail Mary, and they had the votes.
You won't get an argument from me there.
They didn't fucking do it.
They had it for 19 days, and they speed run
a
bunch of stuff.
How did they do it in 19 days?
It was something
there was
like
a special
couple
election
days.
in the Massachusetts Senate. I remember that. Scott Brown.
Yeah.
Right. But your point is correct, Tyler.
Votes. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you guys got to really look in the mirror for yourselves, just for your own party. They don't want to do a thing that you want to do. They'll give you some little chicken shit that, you know, you're like, okay, that's fine, but they don't ever give you what you really want.
You won't find a lot of arguments on the left as far as when we have the power at our disposal, we are way too inclined to say, well, we don't want to offend anyone and let's bring everybody to the middle. Even we try to do it in the most genuine possible way, even though the other side is often playing by the Mitch McConnell rules, the most disingenuous approach you could possibly find. And that is where we lose our own people who are really passionate and really want to see progressive policies. So I'm not gonna disagree with that.
Yeah, it's
When
just
we have power, we need to actually do the things that people sent us to do, as long as it's legal. That's the
let
big
me ask you
difference
this,
between what Trump is doing and what we
Rich,
want to do.
Rich, do you envy the hold that the MAGA base has on some of these centrist Republicans? Do you wish that you had that on your side?
No, absolutely not. It's
Wouldn't you love
infuriating
to
because
bully some of those Democrat senators that never give you what you want and get them out?
No, I think it's very
uh,
tribalistic and it's
Oh,
gross.
Pickles, you want it too. Don't you don't
no,
make it
no,
up.
no, no, no. Because see, that's the thing. When you like look at Trump and how he looks at like Kim Jong Un, which go watch my video I just posted. You look at Trump and how he looks at Kim Jong Un, how he looks at Viktor Orban. He loves that, and the MAGA people love that because they see quick, decisive, powerful action. But if you read a history book, you see that when people take power, even the most benevolent leaders, when they take power and they consolidate everything and they do a bunch of good things, all it takes is one person to take them out. And then you've got this perfectly consolidated throne where whoever has the most power, whoever has the military behind them, sits in that throne, and suddenly they've got end-to-end control over everything: the economy, healthcare.
Do you think we're going
voting
down that
rights.
path?
No, I don't think we
I
are.
don't think
But
so either.
I think that that's what Donald Trump loves. Like, I think
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
I mean,
I kind of like it too. I kind of got a fetish for it, but I also know that we have elections every 2 years.
thank you for saying it out loud.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I think it's kind of funny.
how old are you, Tyler?
26.
Yeah, okay. So power is intoxicating, but when you see
Yeah, it's kind of hot, to be honest with you.
but when you see it abused a couple of times, like by a boss, by a CEO, by a politician, you go, "Oh shit." Or you just, like I said,
Oh, fuck
read
the
enough
CEO.
history books. It's easy to say that, but when the CEO's got the military on their side and they can come and arrest you and throw you in a prison and send you to El Salvador without due process because you said F the CEO, it's a different scenario. And I don't think that people on the right understand exactly how horrifying they would feel this country had become if the left took the White House and did exactly the same thing that Trump is doing now, but the opposite. Like if Obama just came back and got elected for a third term and said, "Okay, guns are illegal now,"
Yeah,
and
we're gonna
everybody
tax
round them
all the
up, otherwise
churches.
we're gonna deport you.
We're gonna tax
without
all
due
the
process.
churches. We're going to defund Fox. We're gonna harass them with the FCC. We're gonna fucking just everything.
Unconstitutional
we're gonna go after
nuclear weaponization.
I know, but
of
guys,
every
here's the
system
thing.
of power.
Here's the thing. I think there's a little part in you deep down that you would love to do that.
No,
And, but
no,
you're like,
see,
your
no,
conscience tells
Absolutely
you it's
not.
wrong. But
dude, if you look at history,
Pickles, come on, you'd love to close the churches and
dude,
tax the
if
shit out
this
of them.
if this were a video game, absolutely, that's
Like
the fastest
GTA,
path
maybe?
to like winning, right? That's the
Yeah.
political points. But when you look at what happens to other countries that do that exact same thing, even when somebody who you think is going to be great, like you look at Argentina, they were in their glory days about 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And then they did back and forth revolutions until now they're a developing nation and they're like lagging hard. I mean, they hit, I want to say it was like 200% inflation on some
Yeah,
goods
I was
at the
there
peak
like
of
3
the.
years ago. It's crazy.
Okay. Yes. And Argentina used to be a thriving nation in the mid 1900s, and it was before they did this where they nationalized the courts. So they did exactly what Trump is trying to do. They rallied the courts under the executive branch. They consolidated power, and then whoops, the wrong person comes in and takes office, and they say no more elections, and they say the courts just do whatever I say, and they just imprison judges or political dissidents as soon as they are angry about it. When you like, we cannot have that happen. And so as much as I would love a big clean win, like, oh, just, I mean, I don't even know if I would say let's go round up all the assault weapons, but to just have that kind of power, like, yes, to stick it to people is very satisfying when you're young, but when you get older and you realize I still want my neighbors to have a job and feed their families, I just want them to not be trying to actively destroy my life or the life of other people's. Like, it's a pretty low bar to clear. That's all we need to get. It's the best of a bunch of imperfect systems.
Yeah, and like again, that's why I think a lot of a lot of people, there were a lot of Democrats that wanted to throw Trump in jail and not let him run. And I mean, I was always with the point of view is that's a horrible precedent because that would just be lawfare now. I mean, can you imagine if Trump would just, put some charges on some random politician and say, okay, well, they can't run. I mean,
that's not what happened though. So you can't say that. Like,
no, I know.
99
I'm
out
just
of
saying it'd be
100
bad.
people who I talk to that are MAGA do not know anything about his charges. They buy the fact that he was politically persecuted and used lawfare against. None of that's true in my opinion. I think everything that he was accused of, for the most part, he's 100% guilty of. And yes, I think those people should be locked up. If someone on our side, and we do this, if they break the law, they should be fucking arrested and put in jail.
Absolutely.
But Pickles, the problem is when, like, for an election, I would be fine with Trump being, punished, convicted, but you cannot bar people from running for the president. I think that's a horrible precedent.
We didn't do that.
Because that kind of person should lose.
Republicans did that, not us.
What I'm saying is that if there's a criminal on the ballot, he probably should lose compared to the opposition candidate, or the other candidate. But that didn't happen this time. I mean,
I think if you try to steal an election, you should definitely be disqualified, and he did do that. So,
well, it was he usually goes right up to the line, and then he can pull back. Because if after that day when that happened, he said, "Oh, I didn't have anything to do with it," and those people.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about him doing fake slates of electors, which 999,000 out of 100,000 MAGA have no idea that even happened.
Yeah, a whole bunch of people went to prison for that.
Oh, they did. I heard about it, but I didn't even know. I didn't even know.
Fake slates of electors. I usually do this thing where I ask everybody who wants to talk about his indictments. I say, you know about this indictment? You know about this indictment? You know about this indictment? These are what these indictments are for. What about the indictment in D.C.? And literally none of y'all know about it. You don't know about it.
I heard but I don't know specifically what he did. Did he try to have each state vote differently than what the result was?
Yes.
Kind of thing?
Yeah,
for example, Michigan, he lost Michigan, but then he said, okay, Michigan, vote for me.
He got literally random people chosen by Kenneth Chesebro and other people that were not duly elected. These people that were going to be slates of electors to pose as the electors in each of those states.
Did they wear a costume?
The state legislature. They signed a document called letters of ascertainment. They even forged seals on these letters of ascertainment, and they posed as the actual electors. And they were trying to get these votes flown in, and he was trying to get Mike Pence to delay the certification and count those electors as the duly certified electors.
Why didn't it work?
Because Mike Pence said no.
Well, Mike Pence is thank God he's off the trail.
You mean the guy that saved us from that?
Mike Pence saved us from.
Mike Pence is way too right wing for me. I never really liked the guy.
I don't love his policies, but he likes the Constitution more than he likes Trump.
Yeah, that is true. I was a little disappointed with Mike that day, but then I kind of got over it, and I said, it's like when someone puts you in your place a little bit, and you're mad at the beginning, and then a month later, you're like, you know what, I was right. They were right. It's kind of where I was with Mike.
That's what America's going to do with Trump here in about 3 years.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and the meltdowns and the people being all worried. I mean, they're probably Democrat will probably win. And then all this will go away, and then there'll be someone new. I mean, JD Vance has no charisma.
We have no. You heard about the FEC being frozen, right? I mean, the FCC, the Federal Election Commission. I mean,
I don't know about that.
Yeah, so they're at a standstill right now, and it's terrifying to think about how we have no oversight in federal elections as of right now. They're not doing anything. For the incumbent president, do you think that's an advantage or disadvantage?
Well, it's a huge advantage, but who would oversee that? In your world, or I don't want to say in your world, but who would you like to see oversee the FEC?
An independent body, like they have been.
Well, he just fires all the independent bodies.
So, do you see how he's consolidating power, bro?
Yeah, I see it, but I'll believe it the day that there's no elections.
And that's where you draw the line after it's too late.
Yes. I would draw the line if there's no elections in 2028.
It's a little late to draw the line at that point, isn't it?
It's a little late.
Well, I mean, he is going to be 83 or 84 or something. Time will tell eventually if we get to that day.
Listen, that has not been a disqualifier for y'all. He's so
Oh,
incoherent.
I'm with
He
him to the
cannot
end.
speak.
I want to make.
I think
I'm with him to
it's-
the end until there's no elections. Then I draw the line.
Yeah, that's
because
wild.
then we can't have that.
That's
Not
wild.
having no elections is probably the
Well,
line that.
you obviously know that's Trump's pipe dream, right? Like Trump would love that.
Well, Father Time gets everybody pickles.
But are you saying you would support him if he? What is he going to do? Let's say he deported every federal judge, including the Supreme Court justices, to El Salvador without due process, and then he said, "I'm going to run for a third term, whether you guys like it or not," which is obviously illegal. Would you go and vote for him?
The third term, no. But if he got rid of the judges, yes. I am not for him staying longer than his term, and I'm not for him not having the elections.
Hang on, time out. I want to hear that back. If he deported the Supreme Court justices without due process to El Salvador, but didn't run for a third term, you would still be okay with that?
Yes.
What?
Yes. I don't want him to run because I think that's just a bad precedent.
Wait,
doing the third term.
You know the Supreme Court is that's a whole branch of the government, right, dude?
Yes, I don't want that branch. I want it completely removed.
Okay.
You just want presidents to unilaterally interpret the law?
I want Trump to unilaterally interpret the law up until his term.
But dude, what happens when Trump is gone?
Then the Democrat will win, or
and then we get to unilaterally interpret
and then
the law?
we don't.
Yes.
Then there's no court, and we just
Yes.
say no more guns for Christian men.
I want the winner. I want the winner to have more power for any side. I think there's
What
too much
the
of these
fuck?
judges and all this stuff. I think
You understand, like, Trump has no legal background. He doesn't know how to read the law, right?
Well, I'm
He
sure
doesn't know how to
someone will
read
read
a
it for
photoshopped
him.
image.
Do you think he reads it now?
No.
That's what I'm saying. They'll just have someone else
And
read
why
it.
do you want him
Let
to...
me ask you this, Pickles. Do you think that the president, Democrat or Republican, should have more power than they do now?
No.
I think they should.
No.
No,
I think they should have the exact amount of power that the Constitution delineated for them. With
Do you
extensive
like when
checks and
these
balances.
Do you like when these Republican judges get in the way of Obama and Biden? I mean,
I think fair is fair, and yes, that it's checks and balances create a healthy system of governing, and it just goes to show this. I'm stealing these words, but MAGA cannot govern. They cannot pass things through Congress. They cannot do things that are within the law. They have to do things with executive order. That's all they can rely on, because their ideas are very unpopular, and what you're asking for is somebody to do things that one person thinks appropriate, not with a bunch of eyes all looking around saying, okay, this is what we can agree on. So like the tariffs, for
many chefs in
instance,
the kitchen.
we can all say that the tariffs are a pretty bad idea, and no one signed up for this, yet Trump has so much power over the whole world right now. He's caused a $7 trillion dip in markets. I think that should be avoided. I think that is bad, especially someone as dumb, profoundly stupid as Trump should not have that much power.
What frustrates me, Pickles, is these judges aren't elected to anything. They're in there for a lifetime, and they could be appointed, and they're in there.
Then
We
fix
can't get
that.
them out.
Then fix
They're
that.
appointed by the
Okay,
civil leaders. They're appointed by the people that we elect.
That's the European Canadian system. This is America, and I think we should vote for those people. Some judge should not be 90 years old and they've been in there since segregation in Arkansas. That's what we've had. And I mean, what the hell? I don't agree with that. We need to get them out. If Trump got rid of the judges and deported them, he'd be clearing the way for your next Democratic president.
So Tyler, you asked would we like it? So do we like what
love it? I know you would. Come on.
No, listen. You asked, do you like it when the right wing judges get in the way? Do I like it, and can I survive it? Are two different questions. And I survived the entire Bush tenure of absolute
he was a
nonstop
disaster.
trauma.
Yeah.
And I've survived COVID with Donald Trump as president because all of our shit held up. He actually told us to get vaccinated. Do you remember? He was not as deranged back then as he is now. And now he's just saying the Constitution is annoying, judges are annoying, everything is annoying. He wants to be a dictator, and he hates having to do hard work the right way. And that's what I would say to you is, remember this phrase, because it sticks in my head all the time. hard things are hard. This is a
Yeah.
country with 350 million people, and no let's say no 7 people agree on any one thing. We can't
That's
even
the
agree if
problem we have in this
pineapple goes
country.
on pizza. But it's a
It-
problem
Pineapple does
because it's
definitely
a
not go on pizza.
robust, diverse country full of ideas. It's the same animosity and friction that makes it very difficult to govern us with any kind of consensus that also drives our innovation and our entrepreneurial spirit. It's why we're just like, screw it, I don't want a boss. I'm going to go start my own business, and
Yeah,
then
well,
you
that's
then
business.
you
That's
invent
great.
Apple.
That's
But
great.
it's the spirit. The spirit exists in this group of people, and we're incredibly diverse. This is one of the most diverse countries on the planet, and that makes it very difficult to just say, here's the one thing we should do. Doesn't everybody agree? You
But
can't do that.
doesn't that cause a lot of gridlock and frustration on both sides?
Absolutely.
We
Absolutely.
always say, oh my gosh, like the government doesn't work, the government sucks. It's not else.
We got a lot done in the last the Biden administration. We were one of the most productive administrations
Well, it wasn't
in
enough,
recent history.
Pickle.
Well, I mean, people who don't read say it's not enough, but for us that know what happened, say it was fantastic.
Well, stuff was still costing too high. Again, the
literally
Biden economy could be great. I know it was the best
No.
economy in the whole world, but it's still stuff was still too expensive.
Well, now Trump's going to help you out with that, making it more expensive.
Well, I don't buy that junk anyways.
Oh, come
we have
on,
a spending
dude.
problem in this country.
Oh my
Dude,
god.
what are you talking to us on right now?
Well, now Pickles is shifting this a little bit towards the China tariffs.
No. I mean literally the device. Are you on a computer or on an Android?
I'm
iPhone?
on a iPhone 16 Pro, the small one.
Oh,
Okay,
bro.
a whole bunch of the stuff in that sick phone, a whole bunch of stuff in that phone doesn't even exist in the United States. So we
mean?
literally have to get rare earth minerals, like literally come from other countries, and we can't
I'm
even get
talking
them
about
here.
like a plastic bin, like the stuff people are complaining on Amazon, like they
No.
can't buy their drapes and.
We're talking about 90% of the things you see in Walmart, and I mean literally 90.
Walmart said they're going to start buying America or supporting. Okay,
Good luck.
Pickles. I have a friend that has some Airbnbs, and all he does is buy junk in there. He buys a bed from Temu for $20, and everything in there is junk. And instead of buying nicer things for his guests, he wants to be a cheap ass and buy junk.
So you want to reduce people's profit margins
Yes, I want the businesses
and standard of living?
I want businesses to provide a better quality product. And
Okay, we'll see how that works out for you in the next election, but
I don't
literally,
buy that.
That's
I
that's
know.
not gonna,
I already said
that's
he's
not gonna
probably
fly.
going to lose. Pickles, I already said the Democrats will probably win. I'm not the loser.
Nobody's down for this whole like be an ultra patriot and go poor for it. No one's down for that.
But
Yeah.
Pickles, we should be supporting local businesses too.
Tyler,
Yes.
I don't buy that cheap crap either. I've never bought a single thing.
That's
from
good.
Temu.
It's a bunch of junk.
I'm middle class and have expendable income to some degree, and so I buy good quality local stuff if I possibly can for a lot of the right reasons. But what you're talking about is the free market, and I'm seeing this through as a thread through every one of your arguments, which is that authoritarian leaning where if people can't or won't or don't make the correct decision, then someone else should compel them to by just making it illegal or making it impossible to do the other thing, to make the bad choice.
They should pay a premium for it. Yes.
I don't have any problem with paying a premium for if you're buying a thing made in China versus a thing made here, as
Right.
long as the
Can we
thing
agree
made
on
here, as long as the thing made here is available and can be produced in a way that is still accessible at a relatively similar price point, because we're still a consumer spending
that's
driven
great.
economy.
So that I understand. Like a little plastic, I don't know, a little plastic garbage can you put in your bedroom. We probably can't make those here. Again, that has to be from China, Vietnam. But you can't tell me we need Chinese beds from Temu. We need
I'm telling
disco
you-
ball. We need disco lights from Temu.
What I'm telling you
junk.
is 90% of the stuff that you think is made in America still is made by things bought from China. So like
Well,
maybe
let
assembled
me know
here.
what it is, and I'll throw it out.
Tyler,
I'll throw it out right now.
This is ridiculous
What wood do you think makes the best furniture?
What wood?
Hardwood? Yeah, like old hardwood or like cheap, soft, fast-growing pine.
I like a polyester. I hate like the leather couches, but I don't really use. I mean, a couch. I don't really think wood. I guess maybe on the bottom, like
The frame is wood, yeah.
Yeah, the frame would be wood. I
But
don't know.
I'm talking like cabinets, bed frames, houses, the studs in houses. Literally like 90% of the hardest wood that we have access to is all in the top half of Canada.
Yeah, I knew that.
It's slow growing, super hard, and they have a quadrillion trees. And we can't grow those trees. We can't produce
Yeah, I know
materials with that quality of wood in this country.
No matter how
And so even
patriotic
if we
you are.
went and, even no matter how patriotic,
I know that, like
patriotic.
Colombia does coffee. I mean, I get that stuff. Some
And
spices
so
we can't get.
And so, but this is the thing. Trump's like tariffs aren't inherently bad on their own. It's how you deploy them and when and where and why. He put tariffs on penguins on an unpopulated
Well, that's
island.
because they were embezzling money there.
No,
You
they
got to
weren't.
tell the other half.
There's nobody who lives on the island.
There's no
you can't
government
embezzle
there.
islands.
They said they were using that as like a.
Well,
like
and you fell
I don't
for
know,
it.
port.
There's
Yeah,
no
I did
one there.
fall for that. Well,
Pickles,
they-
I think embezzling penguins is going to be my new.
Well, they
band
weren't
name,
doing the
like an
penguins. They were
ironic punk
using.
band name.
There's no government there. There's no way to embezzle
they
things.
did it for a reason.
No, we didn't.
Anyway, Tyler, it's okay on this one to just say like he obviously just took a list of nations that he didn't recognize and was like tariff all of them.
I don't think I've never heard of that nation. I don't even know where it is.
But you're not the president.
I have
You're
no
not
idea.
trying to tariff the nation.
I don't
like I
think
would
he
not
knows
expect
where
you.
it is either.
I don't know where it is.
I know that you like yeah. When he's doing things that are affecting all of us, we would hope he would go through this with more detail and more deliberation than just being like blah, hitting it with a shotgun and fucking.
Well, do
us
you
over.
think people tell him which? Do you think people, his advisors, tell him which countries to do? There's obviously some conversation.
I think Trump is very adverse to taking any sort of.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't think he takes any sort of advice very well. He's a narcissist. He is a malignant narcissist, and any sort of dissent gets you fired. We've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, again, but
Have you seen them like literally metaphorically going around the table in this last Fox update?
Yeah, we need
where
more
they're
of that.
literally virtually sucking his dick.
Well, we don't need that, but
They were
you know,
literally
maybe we'll
going,
rub up
Mr.
against
Your
it.
Honor
gross,
Trump,
dude.
Your Honor, your Highness Trump, the greatest,
Well, yeah,
smartest
it's a
man
little
alive.
cringe.
I'm just so honored by God to be here. Like, it's so gross.
Tyler,
It's a little cringe. I'll give it to you.
So
Makes me a little uneasy.
I
They're
gotta
definitely
go.
trying too hard.
Pickles, I love you. I got to go get some sushi before they raise the price tariff all of the imported fish. So
Are you
I'm
gonna-
go
are you
get
gonna
dinner.
buy
I'm getting sushi tonight too, bro.
Tyler, nice, sick. Tyler, just please, please, please. I'm not going to change your mind probably on who you vote for. You're a little bit further to the right than I can usually address, but please just think about, like, we don't even have to talk about it, but think about the consequences of giving unlimited power or even more power, more consolidated power to people who you have already admitted, like you've admitted that Trump is a little cringe, a little unhinged, like you don't agree with everything he's doing, and yet at the same time you're saying these people should have more power than they
I
have
pledged
right
my
now.
loyalty to him when I went and voted. I don't want to be.
We don't pledge loyalty in this country. You just vote. It's just an
He's
action.
a public servant, bro.
You don't have to love him. He's supposed to do good things for you. Like he's working for you. So I would strongly encourage you to let go
Well, how
of
about
the
this? I'll tell you
emotional
this.
reaction or the emotional relationship with leaders, because don't meet your heroes, man. None of them are super great. They're
Well,
just
J.D.
it's a
Vance sucks. I'll
transactional
give you that.
relationship. I 100% agree.
Yeah, he's very. I don't like him at all, and I honestly wouldn't vote for him. I'd probably sit home that day.
So it sounds like we're all on the same page that J.D. Vance should not be the next president, and I'm going to take that as a W. And I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's
get
a
some
dub.
sushi.
Yeah, that's a dog.
Thanks, guys. Love you, Pickles.
All right.
Love you too, Rich.
All right, Pickles, you want to roast me for a minute? Then I'm going to hop off.
Tyler, I just really think you should do some reflecting, bro. This is really bad, weird behavior.
Are you disappointed?
Pretty much.
You're disappointed. I don't want you to be disappointed. Now, let me tell you this: am I able to critically think more or less than the average Trump supporter on your lives?
I don't know.
Maybe like right in the middle. there?
I don't know how to grade that.
Sounds like you're a little bamboozled right now. Maybe a little bit.
I don't know. Maybe you can ask chat, but I'm gonna. You've
Well,
been
I'm
up
not
here
even
for
gonna read
45
the chat.
minutes. Huh?
I'm not even gonna read the chat. There's probably some nasty things said about me.
All right. Well, hey, you're welcome back some other time. All right.
All right, bye bye.
All right. Real quick, chat. Thank you so much for all the love. Don't forget to give me a follow if you enjoy these debates. Go on, hit that follow button, baby. Also, thank you, Savannah, for the gifted subs. You are so sweet. Curbs My Life, thank you so much for all the gifted subs. And somebody else, Miller A, with the 3 months renewal subscription. You are so awesome. Thank you. And thank you for the train. Guys, let's do a few more debates. I've got some sushi to eat here soon. We've been live for 2.5 hours. I might go a little bit longer, and then it's time for sushi chat, all right? In fact, let's go to sub only because TikTok, y'all deserve it. Let's go sub only chat, guys. That means if you are a subscriber and you're awesome as fuck, you can chat. And if you're not so awesome, kind of like Tyler, you can't chat. Not to get too technical. Yellow?
Hello.
What's up? Are you a Trump supporter?
So I wouldn't say that I'm a Trump supporter. I just think that Trump is a necessary evil in order for the revolution to begin.
Yeah. I don't know. I we've done too many of these like accelerationist, anarcho-capitalist debates. Unless you're an actual Trump supporter, I don't know if I want to debate you.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. I appreciate you. Have a great one.
All right, you too. Chat. One's in the chat if you're for sashimi. 2 in the chat if you are for hand rolls. Should I get the chest of jewel sashimi or should I get hand rolls? Let me know. It was 1 sashimi, 2 hand rolls. Neither. Blasphemy. Blasphemy. Yellowtail's amazing too. I love Yellowtail. Hand rolls? I might be doing hand rolls. They're a little more affordable. California rolls? You don't like sushi? Hello? Sue?
Oh, hi.
Hi, are you a Trump supporter?
I am not, and I didn't even realize I was still here. But I would like to throw something out there if you're okay.
Okay.
And I am way older than the last guest. I'm 64.
Okay.
So here's my question to those that do support Trump and are, talk about abortion. Here's my question. My daughter, when she was young, was raped. She lost the baby. Okay. I mean, she had a miscarriage, so she'd probably be in trouble now. But let's say she was forced to carry that baby. She's not married. Who takes care of the baby? We're doing away with all these programs. The terrible person who raped her isn't going to raise his hand and say, hey, I'm going to pay child support. So who do they think are taking care of these babies that they want us to have so badly? That's my question. And it's a hard one.
Yeah.
Because they're not thinking about that. Everybody's just focusing on this, whether we want to call it cells or whatever. Everybody's focusing on that. But let's focus on if they decide everybody's going to go to prison if you have unalive a baby, who's going to take care of all these kids?
What sucks that they have an argument on their side that they usually say that I think it's like 99% of newborns get adopted. But I don't like that argument. I'd much rather say I trust women. I trust women to make the right decisions, and I would never say you should be forced to carry something to term. I think it's a disgusting way for us to live amongst each other.
I agree with you, and I can accept the kind of what they're saying about the adoption. But here's another thing. So my daughter's now married. If something happened to her again, and she's forced to carry this baby, what does her husband do? I mean, is he, she's got this baby that she didn't ask for and does not want, and her husband is like, what do I do? I mean, they have issues anyway, right? Because something terrible happened to her. But I just think nobody is thinking ahead. That's the thing for me. Anyway, I do like you, and you're really the only one I listen to. And anyway, so thank you. I didn't realize I was still up. I was up clear back when the guy, I don't know, an hour ago, and I didn't realize it was still there.
Oh, you're fine. Well, thank you so much, and I'm very sorry to hear about your daughter.
Oh,
And
she's done therapy, and we're good, and she's great. But anyway, yeah, it's a terrible thing to have happen to anybody, male or female, frankly.
yeah,
They or them. So anyway, all right, take care.
you too. Thank you.
Hmm.
That's heavy, chat. It's real heavy. How am I liking Expedition 33? Guys, let me tell you guys about Expedition 33 to lighten the mood. Expedition 33 is one of the best games I've played maybe in about 6 years, since Elden Ring. I'm gonna go hang out with my girlfriend tonight, and I'm not gonna be able to play it, and I'm gonna be thinking about it. That should tell you how much I love that game. It's such a good game. You guys should, if you're on the fence about buying it, you should buy it. Yeah, that has yeah, it's great. Rich with the subscription, dude. Rich is one of my favorite people I met in the tour. I think top 3, maybe top 2. You better not think about the game when you're with her. No, no. I mean, guys, I love hanging out with my girlfriend, but it will be in the back of my head, in the back of my mind. I will be wanting to play it. Yellow?
Hello.
Hello. Are you a Trump supporter?
I am not. So I requested off of what Sue said. I am a social worker. I help people in the foster care system get foster licensed, adopt children. That statistic that they throw around that 99% of babies get adopted is absolutely unequivocally fucking false. No, that is not the case.
Babies are adopted that are put up for adoption. So this is what I get when I search this. In the U.S., a significant percentage of babies placed up for adoption through private domestic adoption are adopted, with estimates suggesting a near 100% chance. So it's a hard one for me to argue, unless you've got some good data.
When it's a private adoption agency, it's a little bit different because people are paying a whole bunch of money, right? And that's what it is. It's a money-based business. But when we're talking about foster care, which is going to be what would happen, right? With an all-out abortion ban, all of these kids would end up in foster care. There is not enough private adoption agencies to handle that influx of children and find families that are also ready, willing, and able to adopt.
I do like I like arguing how harmful like the foster system and the adoption system is to people. I think
Absolutely.
the outcomes of people that go through that, I think that's obviously there's a lot to debate there. But I don't know. I obviously I would just much rather pick a fight that I can win with more data. So while I agree, I think it's a horrible situation. I would rather just argue straight out like leave women alone. Just fucking let them make their own decisions.
Oh,
And
absolutely. So also on the other side of that coin, I'm an adopted child. So I have that experience as well. And I'm now 42, live a decent life. I wish I would have been aborted. So if you went and did a survey of adopted children across the world, I would imagine a significant percentage would also say the same thing.
yeah.
Adoption is not this beautiful thing that people think it is.
Yeah, and I'd also like to say that like that's obviously not the same thing as saying you're suicidal, right? It's saying that you've been through a lot and that could have been avoided.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't ask to be here. I didn't ask to be adopted by the family that I was adopted by. I didn't ask to have all the medical issues that I have. Like, you know, so knowing that my biological mother already had a child who she was struggling to take care of, then got pregnant again and gave me up, like, you know, she had another option and didn't take it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say before I go to the next?
No, I'll drop down.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Have a great night.
You too. Yep. Guys, never in a million years did I think I would be hosting like a thing that allowed people to come up here and share something like that. That just it's like a wild, I don't know, what do you call it? Just having one of those moments. It's wild. Fletch, yes, Expedition 33.
Hi, what's up?
What's up, bro?
Yeah, do you like free speech?
I do.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Can I show you that you don't like?
You can try.
So I wanted to join, like, I don't know, 30 minutes ago. I was scrolling and I saw you debating a guy that was bringing you facts about black people, etc., etc., and you had to mute him and kick him out. But it's okay. But I personally debated you, and doesn't matter Trump or Democrats or Republican, it's easy. Trump all the way. But there is something interesting for me. You told me that in Russia, I mean, of course, you're brainwashed by the media about Russia. They live good there. But you told me that you were like, because when you look at the pictures on Google, it's all bad, this and that, but that's not how they live there. I was in Moscow, but that doesn't matter right now. It's like also with. So you told me that in Russia, the media is controlled by the state.
They do have
this
state-run
and that.
media, yeah.
Yeah, and then I told you that the Jews control the media in America, and you kicked me out. Then my same friend came here and he was giving you facts about the Jews and everything, and you also kicked him out. So I was wondering, like, why?
So this is not a point for you on free speech. Free speech is the ability to speak out and without having your government interfere. And I am not the government. I'm allowed to do whatever I want with people on my channel, include kick you out, like I'm about to do right now. Eat a big fat bag of dicks, my friend.
Hey, Pickles. This isn't something super serious, but it was brought to my attention that you claim to be a gamer. You claim to be this gamer. You claim to play video games, but anybody can claim anything with no evidence. I've never seen any footage of you playing games. I don't know what did you play growing up. Like, did you play Xbox, Nintendo, Wii, PlayStation 2? Like, we know there's no evidence of you being a gamer. You claim all that. You like to fact check, don't you? You like to say, "Oh, bring proof, bring receipts." So we've looked. There's no proof of you being a gamer. I've never seen footage. Anybody can claim anything. I don't know what did you play. Who did you play with? I don't think you ever played a game because I've never seen footage. You claim to be a gamer, dude. Just Pickles, no.
All right, chat. This is gonna be fun.
There's no footage. Nobody has ever seen you playing a game. I see you do TikTok debates. I'll give you credit for that, but I've never seen you ever. I have no footage of you ever playing a game.
Listen, I don't get to brag too often, chat. So I'm gonna do it right now.
Where's the proof of you playing a game? I'm just saying, you're always asking people for sources and proof. There's no evidence.
That's me on the red carpet in 2019 as a gamer. You see that? This is me with Megan Fox, Twitch, and Nikki Bella in a red carpet event, gaming. That's me being interviewed on the red carpet. That's me again with Twitch, rest in peace, and his wife. That's me holding a check for $100,000 with Nikki Bella, Twitch, and the host. That's me gaming with them.
Sorry, I'm just give me a second. I'm trying to think of the right thing to say because I want to be I didn't. Where are those pictures from? Those aren't on your account, are they? Are those on?
They're on my Instagram.
I got to take my medicine. I don't have any comment on that. We're gonna go ahead and just move off this. I gotta go. I gotta get.
All right, bub. W's another W in the pickles for W in the chat for pickles. Was that a W? Did I win that one? All right. Chat. I'm gonna go ahead and take off. I gotta go eat some fucking delicious sushi with my beautiful girlfriend, and maybe even grab some butt cheeks. I got a butt cheek to grab tonight. So, you guys be good, be safe. I will see y'all tomorrow. I love you guys. Sweet dreams. Big kisses. Goodbye.